Welcome to the Caltex Theatre, a full hour of dramatic entertainment broadcast over a nationwide network of stations throughout Australia. The Caltex Theatre is brought to you by Caltex Oil, marketers of over 1,000 outstanding petroleum products, in association with Caltex dealers and distributors everywhere. Tonight, the Caltex Theatre presents Bad Day at Blackrock, specially adapted from the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer outstanding drama, which, on the screen, featured an all-star cast headed by Spencer Tracy and including Ernest Borgnine, from whom we will hear in a moment. Bad Day at Blackrock is the story of a man with a mission, a quiet gentleman who came to a small Texan town to pay a debt and found himself faced with suspicion and hostility. But Blackrock was to learn that the gentleman had also a will of iron. Starring tonight, you will hear Joe McCormack. Your producer, Cressick Jenkinson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take pleasure in introducing in person one of the stars of the MGM screen production of the play you are about to hear, the well-known Hollywood actor and Academy Award winner, Ernest Borgnine.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I was very interested to hear that the Macquarie Network was broadcasting a radio adaptation of the MGM movie Bad Day at Blackrock. And I'm glad that this should happen during my visit to Australia, it giving me the opportunity to hear it. Because if I had to name one screen role as my favorite, it would be the part of Coley that I played in this picture. Well, so far anyway, because I haven't included my latest role of Rue in Summer of the 17th Doll, which we have just finished. It sure has been a real pleasure to make this picture here. The Doll is going to be a great movie, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it just as much as we did making it. That's, of course, some time away yet. But right now, I'm sure we'll all enjoy the Macquarie broadcast of Bad Day at Blackrock, played by a strong cast of wonderful actors, to whom I'd like to say, good luck.
Thank you, Ernest Borgnine. The Caltex Theatre presents Bad Day at Blackrock, Act 1.
Well, what do you know?
Hey, the train's stopping.
It's 24 years. Something's wrong here. Something wrong.
Thank you, conductor.
Thank you, sir.
You for Blackrock?
That's right.
Must be some mistake. I'm Hastings, the telegraph agent, and nobody told me the train was stopping.
They didn't.
No, I just told her they didn't, and they order. What I want to know is, why didn't they?
Maybe they didn't think it was important.
Important? First time a streamliner stopped here in 4 years. You've been met? Visiting folks or something? What do you want?
I want to go to a place called Dobie Flat. Are there any cabs available?
Dobie Flat?
Yeah.
No cabs, no.
Is the hotel open? Is the hotel open?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What'd you say, Hastings? Asked for Dobie Flat, did he? Okay. Okay, thanks for calling.
What was it?
Some strangers in town. Yes, mister? You want something?
Afternoon. Like a room.
We're all filled up.
Any idea where I could...
This is 1945, mister. There's been a war on, and rooms are always hard to get when wars are around.
Well, it seems I remember the war ending a couple of months ago.
Yeah, okay, so it did, but the OPA lingers on. You don't know about the OPA.
Oh, you tell me.
Well, for establishments with less than 50 rooms, hotel keepers have got to report regularly about tenants and registration. There are penalties imposed, you see. Hey, you can't look in that register
A lot
without
of blank space in these pages. That can mean only one thing. You got rooms. Give me a key.
All the rooms are locked up. Some are showrooms for feed salesmen and cattle buyers. The rest, they're spoken for, rented cowboys and ranch hands for when they come to town. They pay by the
I'll
month.
take this key, I think, room 4. Is that okay with you?
Well, look,
I
you
hope so.
can...
Now, just to make it all nice and formal. There. I've signed your register for you. Well, now, I'd like to have a bath. Where is it?
At the head of the stairs.
Thank you. Oh, don't worry about my bag. I can carry it myself. Not that I suppose you were going to worry about it.
Who is he, Pete?
John J. McCready, Los Angeles.
I want to know everything he does, Pete. Phone calls, mail.
Uh-huh. And in the meantime...
In the meantime, I'll crown him a little. See if he's got any iron in his blood. Hi.
I guess maybe you're in the wrong room.
You think so? What else you got on your mind?
Oh, nothing, I guess.
If you had half a mind, you'd have paid attention to what Pete downstairs said. He said this room here is for us cowboys. For our every wish and comfort.
And this one is yours, I guess.
When I'm in town, and I'm in town, as any fool can see. You can see that, can't you?
Yeah, I guess so. You must have been waiting here for me for some time. Sorry you had to wait so long. I was enjoying my bath. Would you mind if I sort of got my things together and found another room?
Oh, not at all. But if you really wanted this room, we could maybe settle your claim without all this talk. I mean, I believe a man's nothing unless he stands up for what's rightfully his. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
You guess so. But you still ain't claiming this room?
No, I guess not.
You're all the time guessing, aren't you, huh? Don't you know anything?
Yeah, well, I know that ever since I got off the train, everybody's been needling me. Why?
I guess I rightly don't know.
I guess that makes it that neither of us knows anything much. Well, I'll be moved into a new room soon. I'm sorry to have disturbed yours here.
And then he just picks up the key, signs the register, and walks off up the stairs. Oh, I wish he hadn't come here, Doc. It can only mean trouble, and I don't like trouble. I say he's a cop.
Did you ever see a cop with a stiff arm like he's got?
Well, maybe he's just making out. I mean, maybe his arm's all right. Maybe he was just hanging on to something tied in his pocket.
Like what? A pistol, a stick of TNT so he can blow up the whole mangy, miserable town? He's got a bad arm. Bad hand, too, maybe. Just wants to keep it hidden in his pocket.
Oh, well, that's probably him coming downstairs again.
You sell cigarettes here?
How long are you staying?
Where? New room? Well, I'm staying...
I mean in the hotel.
24 hours. Why?
Oh, just, asking?
Why? You gonna have a convention here?
I was just asking.
Yeah. Cigarettes.
Want me to open the pack for you?
Well, one hand's enough to do that, thanks.
Okay.
Hey, where would I get a car here?
I don't know.
Well, now, let's put it this way. Supposing I had a car and I wanted some gas, where would I go?
You don't have a car.
You might try that garage down the end of the street.
Thanks. That's a help. I'll see what I can do down there.
and he signed the register, Mr. Smith, and went upstairs. And just now, a minute or so ago, maybe, just before you came in, he went out heading for the garage.
Yeah, I saw him on the way. John J. McCready, huh? Where's Coley?
Oh, I think he's still,
Yeah, where you been?
Upstairs, talking to the stranger. Then thinking about him. Yeah, he's cool. Real cool, that feller. I was trying to give him the push, see? Thought I should...
And he doesn't push easy, huh?
Well, that's it. That's just it. He pushes too easy. You know, maybe we ought to, Doc.
Huh? Oh, I didn't notice you sitting there, Doc. What are you doing, trying to hide?
No need for me to hide from anyone. I was just sitting around, sitting and wondering what all you people are worrying about.
You wonder too much and talk too much, Doc. It's a bad parley.
I hold an old truck with silence. I got nothing to hide.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing, man. It's just that you worry about this stranger only if you look at him from a certain aspect.
And how do you look at him, Doc?
With the innocence of a fresh-laid egg.
You keep it up, Doc. Make bad jokes. Be funny. Someday I'll have Coley wash your mouth out with lye soap. You, Coley, it seems to me you now started to get a little nervous about our visitor, huh? Don't get too nervous too fast. That's what I ask of you.
Well, I don't like it. I don't understand him. Why he came here.
Maybe he's just passing through.
His manner spells trouble.
Yeah, that's what I say.
We ought to see him, all of us. You should see him, boss. You should talk to the guy, find out...
What'll I talk to him about? The birds, the bees, the crops, the weather? You tried talking to him. Where'd it get you?
I just thought...
You just thought.
Well, what do we do then?
What'll you do? You wait. Just like Pete here. That right, Pete? And that's all you'll do, Coley. And while you wait, yeah, maybe I will talk to him. Maybe I will.
Oh. Yeah? Okay. Hastings again. He said he just saw McCready going into the jail. What do you suppose he'd want to talk to the sheriff about?
Hey.
Hey, hold it, friend, hold it. I ain't hankering to get locked up in my own jail.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were a guest. You're lying there asleep in a cell bed and the door was open. Well, I thought you were the
No.
guest.
Oh, as it so happens, I'm the host. Hey, you want a snow?
No, thanks.
I don't blame you, it's awful. What are you looking at?
You.
Oh, I ain't always this bad. Yeah, it was just the last night me and my pal Doc Veely, we did a little celebrating.
What were you celebrating?
You name it, mister, that's what we were celebrating. Anyhow, well, you won.
My name is McCready. I came in on the streamliner.
You what?
Yeah, I know. It's the first time I stopped here in 4 years. Well, what I want is a little information. I have to go to a place called Adobe Flat.
This ain't no information bureau.
You know, there's one thing about Black Rock. Everybody's so polite. Makes for a very gracious living.
Well, no, but I ask you here.
How do you know?
Well, what about Doberflant?
I'm looking for a man called Kamako.
What?
Almost a disaster. Then you smashed your bottle.
Yeah, fate worse than death. You move fast for a big man.
How about Kamako?
Well, how about him? Now, if there are no further questions, friend, I'll be getting back to my drinking. You excuse me?
Okay.
Hope you don't mind letting yourself out.
No, I don't.
Mr. McCready.
Well, you know, those are the first pleasant words I've heard since I got here.
Well, my name is Smith. I own the 3 Bar Ranch. I want to apologize for some of the people in town.
They act like they're sitting on a keg.
A keg? Of what?
I don't know. Ooh, Diamonds, gunpowder.
Oh, it's nothing like that. We're suspicious of strangers, that's all. A hangover from the old days, the Old West.
Oh, I thought the tradition of the Old West was hospitality.
Well, I'm trying to be hospitable, Mr. McCready. You going to be around long?
It could be.
Uh-huh. Well, how'd you like to go hunting tomorrow? I'd be proud to have you as my guest.
Oh, no, thanks. I'm afraid I can't.
Because of your arm, I suppose. I knew a man lost his arm once in a threshing accident. He used to hunt all the time. He was quite a man. Sorry, I mean if I, Well, if there's anything I can do while you're around...
No, I don't think so, thanks. I was just looking for a... But no, it doesn't matter.
Looking for what, Mr. McCready?
Well, I was looking for a man named Kamako.
Kamako, huh?
Yeah, that's him.
Sure, I remember him. Japanese farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he never had a chance.
Uh-huh.
Well, he got here in 41, just before Pearl Harbor, and 3 months later they shipped him off to a relocation center. Tough.
You don't happen to remember which one they sent him to, do you?
Who knows? Why don't you try writing it?
Oh, no, I've already written them. They don't forward my letters. I keep sending them back.
They do, huh?
Yeah, they do. Who's this? The girl in the Jeep.
Oh, that's Liz Worth, sister of the young fella behind the reception counter at the hotel.
Oh, she's pretty.
Yeah, Liz is a pretty gal.
Hi,
You need any help with that can?
I can manage.
Well, I need a little help. I'd like to rent your Jeep.
Well, that'll be $2 an hour, gas extra, $10 for my time.
Why don't you ask him where he wants to go, Liz?
Well, where do you want to go?
Adobe Flat. Is the road well marked?
Yeah, about 6-7 miles down.
Oh, it's fine. I won't need your time.
I thought you might need a little help.
No. I'll get along fine, thank you. Here's the money.
Liz, do you have a license to hire cars?
I,
Well, you might get into trouble giving him the Jeep without a license to hire it.
I won't say a word to the sheriff. When can I take it now?
yeah, I
Good.
suppose... Yeah, you've hired it, mister. You take it whenever you want.
Fine, thanks. I won't be very long. I'll drop it back here when I'm finished.
The garage.
Will you have the garage? Yeah, I was down there a while ago. I couldn't find anybody around. Hey, well, I'll get it back there safe and sound later on. I'll see you, friends.
You shouldn't have done that, Liz. You shouldn't have let him have it.
I thought it'd be better if he went out there and got done with it. What can he find out? I wouldn't do anything to hurt you, Reno. You know that.
Liz, this is liable to be the hardest $10 you've ever earned in your life. Tim.
Oh, Master Smith. Sorry, I was just having a lie down, a little drink.
McCready, that fellow who just got into town, what did he want here with you?
McCready? Oh, yeah, McCready. He asked about Kamako. Hey, you think he'll kick up a storm, Mr. Smith?
Storm? What about?
Oh, I don't know. All I know, I don't want no more trouble around here. Never again.
Trouble? Well, you don't know anything about Kamako, do you?
No, I do not, and that's the point.
Well, the point is, what you don't know won't hurt you, Tim. You got the body of a hippo, but the brain of a rabbit. Now, don't overtax it.
Yeah, Mr. Smith. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say.
Mr. Smith here?
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, what is it, Hastings?
Mr. Smith, I got a reply to that wire you had me send to Los Angeles. There you are.
What does it say?
Mr. Smith's friend never heard of him. That's what he says. He's checked and there's no John J. McCready. No listing, no record, no information, no nothing.
Yeah,
Well, where does that leave us now?
right where we were before, I reckon.
Ah, this McCready, I think he's a nothing. A nobody.
Is he?
Well, I've been thinking it all over about him. I guess maybe we did get too scared too quick. There's nothing to worry with that fella.
Isn't there? Oh, you got brains, you have, Coley.
Well, what can he find out? That Kamako... Suppose he finds out. What of it?
A nobody like McCready can raise a pretty big stink. But the point is, who'd miss a nobody like McCready, huh? Well, if he just, say, disappeared, who, Coley?
You mean kill him? Oh, you can't do that. He's not an animal.
Well, listen to the little Spitfire. You miserable little toad, I'm trying to save your neck, and if I don't, who will?
Well, all I
Tim
was
or
just...
the doc? Your sister with the rocks in her head? Still, here's one thing about your sister. She's got twice the guts you have. You're only fit for running away.
And it's too late for that. You're in this as much as anyone, Pete, and you ain't running no place.
Well, all I was... Oh, forget it.
All right, then. So we gotta do some careful thinking and planning. We gotta take steps to protect ourselves from this nosy character, and I got a little plan right now that could protect us in just the way the doctor ordered.
Man, you're giving your stomach punishment with that stuff.
That's me, Doc. Always punishing my poor little thumb-thumb.
Saw Smith pay you a visit not so long ago.
Yeah.
Seems like the jailhouse has suddenly become a popular place. First McCready, then Smith, now me. Guess you haven't had so many visitors here in a coon's age.
Yeah, Smith can find himself a new boy for sheriff. I don't mind telling you, Doc. Someone else can take it on. I can't take another day of it. If you're a sheriff, they gotta respect you. Otherwise, you can't do your job. They just laugh.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't laugh, Tim.
Why don't you?
Oh, cut it out.
Well, you should. I guess everyone should laugh at me. Tim, the plaster sheriff of Black Rock. Ha ha!
Boy, you get hold of yourself. You snap out of this. You're gonna get yourself a complex or something behaving like this.
4 years ago, if I'd done my job, if I'd have checked up and found out what happened. Oh, but I did. No, sir.
Well, what could you have found out? They told you a story, you had to believe it?
Would you believe it? Huh?
I don't know. I live a quiet, contemplative life.
Me, I didn't even try to find out. Don't you understand? You know, when you're wearing this badge of the law, when somebody does something against the law, then you're supposed to do something about it. But me, I did nothing. That's what's eating me. Well, what kind of prescription you got for that, Doc? How can you cure a sheriff who knows he should have made some arrests but didn't?
Don't know what the prescription for that is, Tim. But one thing, don't quit as sheriff. Stick with it. Maybe you'll find the prescription for yourself. Or maybe McCready will find it for you.
It's quite a pretty place, Adobe Flint. Quite a pretty... What? Yeah.
There he is now. See? Jeep just moving off now.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, we'll catch up to him in a minute. Boy, Smith's got a brain. You gotta give him that. He's got a brain.
I wish I hadn't come.
Huh?
I wish he hadn't made me come with you. I don't like this. The man might get killed. and
Baby
he's
boy, that's what Coley's gonna try to do. Now you heard it all. I try to force him off the road, get him over the cliff round by 7 Mile Bend.
Coley, let's go back.
We go on, boy.
Please, it's not right. It's just...
We're gonna protect ourselves, see? Protect ourselves at all costs, Smith said. Now you sit tight, baby boy. Here we go. right, isn't he? Moves over straight away. Hold on, Pete. Boy, did you see that? Nearly turned him over there.
Coley! Please, Coley!
Shut up, you yellow-bellied little rat! Move over, Roadhog! Move over, or I'll follow you, my friend. And before we get to 7 Mile Bend, he goes over the side of the hill, see? Just swings off the high road, slides down the hill, goes onto the low road, and goes merrily on his way. Yeah, it's neat, that. Didn't think he'd get that idea. Never would have thought of it myself. So we don't get him.
Why, you crazy... Ah, well, I guess maybe it couldn't be helped. Okay.
And the kid here, boy, he was almost whimpering. He was so scared. Don't do it, Coley. Let's go back, Coley. Ah.
I don't like killing. Not that sort of killing. I just don't...
Well, what is it?
Look, can you see? Coming along the road now. McCready. Coming straight along here to the hotel. Well, I'm not staying here to face him. You can if you want to, but I never want to face him again. And by the look on his face, if I were you, I'd get out of here quick smart too.
And so the curtain falls on Act 1 of tonight's Caltex play, Bad Day at Black Rock.
Anywhere you care to travel, motorists agree. The Caltex stands for better service. Drive right in and see.
Caltex Butane Boosted is the gasoline made to take better care of your car's performance. Caltex Butane Boosted gasolines give faster starting, smoother acceleration, and more economical running. Next time you fill up, change to Caltex. See if you don't feel the difference. See if your car doesn't respond more readily, tick over more smoothly and steadily. The gasolines designed for today's faster pace, Caltex Butane Boosted gasolines.
The Caltex Theatre now presents Joe McCormack in Bad Day at Black Rock, Act 2.
Stay where you are, Pete. Stay there.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
You ready for him, Coley?
Oh, yes, I'm ready for him. Well. It isn't McCready, the world's champion road hog.
Yeah, it's a small world, isn't it?
But such an unfriendly one. Now, why did you want to crowd me off on the road?
I'm sorry if I incurred your displeasure.
My car outside, the front all mashed in.
Anything at all I can do to make up for the damage caused to your
You
car.
ought to be more careful, man. All that one-arm
I'll be
driving.
glad to pay for the damage.
It's a threat to life and limb.
Yeah, but fortunately, no one was hurt.
Now, you could get yourself killed that way, nosing all over the countryside.
Yeah. Guess I was lucky not to have been killed.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you won't have to worry about my welfare anymore. Hey, boy, you still expecting that convention?
What?
If you're expecting any extra cowboys, my room is available as from now.
Are you checking out?
That's right, yeah. Any trains through here tonight?
Mr.
Smith, would you know of any through here tonight?
Well, the streamliner tomorrow morning will be the first train through here.
Let's see. How about a bus? Could I get a bus out of here?
Closest stop is Sand City, 32 miles away.
You're in such a hurry you should never have got off here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Excuse me, I'll go pack my things.
Well, you...
Coley.
Huh?
Not yet, not just yet. There'll be a better time than this. A much better time.
If you're looking for the keys to that Jeep, Mr. McCready, they're not there in the ignition switch, as you can no doubt see. Anything else I can do for you?
Where would you suggest I look for the keys?
The Jeep's not for rent.
Well, it was just a few hours ago.
Things change in this garage.
They sure do. And Smith is the guy who changed them, isn't he?
I don't know what you mean.
What's wrong with this town of yours, Miss Worth?
There's nothing wrong with this town, Mr. McCready. Nothing that concerns you, anyway.
Why is everybody so concerned about me, then? What did your brother do here? What you so afraid of?
What do you care? What do you care about Black Rock?
I don't care anything about Black Rock. Well, it just seems to me that there aren't many towns like this in America. Oh, but one town like it is enough. And because I think something kind of bad happened here, Miss Worth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I know this much. The rule of law is left here, and the guerrillas have taken over.
Oh? And don't try to steal that key, Mr. McCready. It isn't the key to the Jeep. This is the key. The one I have in my hot little hand. And you aren't getting in. Sorry, but I have to leave you now. You can stay here at the garage if you want, till you work out what you want to do with yourself. See you, Mr. McCready.
There we go again, by the look of it.
Miss Worth running away from you, McCready?
Must seem like it to any casual observer such as yourself.
Yeah. McCready, I'd like to ask you a few questions while you're around.
Yeah, well, as you can see, I'm around, all right. I guess probably you've heard that Miss Worth is no longer in the car rental business.
Good. I wouldn't want to see that gal get in any trouble.
Wouldn't you?
Well, what with rental permits and gas rationing, you know what I mean.
Yes, I know, yeah. I certainly admire your sturdy sense of responsibility.
Well, it's just that gal has a future.
Yeah, well, instead, would you let's talk about my future?
Do you think you have the time?
I don't seem to be going anywhere.
I hear you handle a Jeep real well.
Yes, I do have a way with Jeeps. It's a certain familiarity.
I think I understand. You're an army man, aren't you? Where was your arm knocked out of action?
Italy.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I tried to enlist myself the day after them rats bombed Pearl Harbor.
What stopped you?
Physical, they wouldn't take me. Morning after Pearl, I was the first man in line at Marine recruiting at Sand City. They wouldn't take me.
That's tough.
What do you do in Los Angeles, Mr. McCready?
I'm retired.
You're a pretty young man to be retired.
Well, you
aren't
might say I was forced into retirement.
Yeah. What were you looking for in Dobie Flat?
Well, like I told you, I was looking for a fella named Kamako, but like you told me, he wasn't there.
Oh.
What's funny?
Nothing. Just that I don't believe you.
Well, that's too bad.
I believe a man's as big as what he's seeking. I believe you're a big man, Mr. McCready.
Flattery won't get you anywhere.
Why would a man like you be looking for a lousy Jap farmer?
Oh, you never can tell, you know. Maybe I'm not so big.
Oh, yes, you are. I believe a man's as big as what'll make you mad. Nobody around here seems big enough to get you mad.
What makes you mad, Mr. Smith?
Me? Nothing. Nothing.
You're a pretty big man yourself, Mr. Smith. The Japanese make you mad, don't they?
Well, that's different after that sneak attack on Pearl Harbor and Baton.
Kamako make you mad?
Well, it's the same thing. Loyal Japanese Americans. Boy, that's a laugh. They're all mad dogs. Now, what about Corregidor, the death march?
What did Kamako have to do with Corregidor?
Well, he was a Jap, wasn't he? Look, Mr. McCready, there's a law in this county against shooting dogs, but when I see a mad dog, I don't wait for him to bite me.
Oh, no, I guess.
You know, Mr. McCready, I swear you're beginning to make me mad.
What happened to Kamako?
He went away. Like I told you, shortly after he left, some kids went out there to Dobie Flat, and they got to fooling around, burned his place down. You know how kids are.
Look, you see these wildflowers? I brought a handful back with me from Adobe Flat. They're pretty, huh? There's something buried up there. Wildflowers like this, that means a grave. I suppose you knew that. When wildflowers grow like this, yeah? Yeah. Well, I do. I saw a lot of it overseas. Anyway, I figured the grave at Adobe Flat wasn't a human grave because it wasn't marked. It's kind of a mystery, that, isn't it?
Kinda. Maybe you can figure it out.
Yeah, maybe I can.
Well, why don't you give it a whirl? Might help you pass what remaining time you have here.
No, I've got other things to do. Matter of fact, I'm not interested.
Huh?
No, not interested.
Well, I'll be on my way now, I think, McCready.
At least that's my story to you, Buster. Hi, can I come in?
Sure, come right along in.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought to myself, I want to use a phone. Then I thought, who will let me use the phone? I came up with the answer. Doc Veely. Seemed like he wasn't quite as worried about me as the others.
There it is. Help yourself.
Thanks.
It's 424.
What?
Well, if I got you pegged, and I think I have, you're about to call the state police. But if I was you, and I'm surely glad I'm not, I'd look it up for myself. I wouldn't trust anybody around here, including me.
Well, I'll take a chance at you, Doc.
Yeah.
424, please.
424?
Yeah.
The lines are all busy.
What?
All the lines busy, huh? Yeah, well, they'll be busy all day for you, my friend. You see, we got a funny phone system here. Everything goes through the switch at the hotel. Pete also acts as the town's operator.
Pete's sake. Do you mind not looking at me like that?
Like what?
Like I'm a potential customer.
Everybody is. I get 'em coming and going. You know, McCready, they're going to kill you with no hard feelings.
You gonna sit there and let them do it?
No need to get waspish with me, mister.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
Yeah, well, I feel for you. But I'm consumed with apathy. Why should I mix in?
I don't know. Maybe to save a life?
I got enough trouble saving my own. Look, I try to live right. I drink my milk every day, but mostly I try to mind my own business, which is something I'd advise you to do.
Oh, it's a little too late for that.
Oh, no. You can still get out of town. But you'd better get out like a whisper.
How?
Well, I got a sort of limousine that you could have.
Oh. Thanks, Doc. Where is it?
Out back. Come on, I'll take you out to it.
Can you see what's wrong with it yet?
Nope, seems to be doing everything it should here in the motor.
Yeah, but it isn't. It isn't starting.
Of course, she is pretty old.
Yeah.
Everything old does get a bit cantankerous every now and then.
Having trouble with the limousine, Doc?
Nothing you can fix, Coley. Just leave it to us.
Well, I was listening to your efforts to get it started. Now, I know a lot about cars. It's probably the wiring.
Probably. Maybe it could be fixed.
Easy. Except maybe if this wire was busted or something.
Coley, do the nice little things in life, will you? Huh? Like keeping your big fat nose out of my business?
Well, now, look here. Oh, now, wasn't that silly of me? I just don't know my own strength, that's the trouble. Well, fancy pulling that wiring clean out with that little tug. Afraid you haven't got a chance of getting it going now. Yeah, when it wasn't that just the silliest thing for me to do?
Sorry. But you gotta admit I tried.
For that, I thank you. How much time do you think I've got before they...
Well, you got at least till dark. They'll be afraid to see each other's faces.
Well, thanks, Doc. I can't say that it's been charming.
Where you going?
Well, I don't know, but I'm going on foot.
That's no good. You stray 10 yards off the main street and you'll be stone cold dead.
Maybe, but...
Maybe, but what?
Ooh, just maybe, but... See you later, Doc.
Oh, hello. Hot, eh?
Yeah.
Like a lemonade? I've got plenty. Help yourself.
No, thank you. Would you give me a telegram form? I want to send a wire.
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
Don't you like lemonade?
Never thought much about it. There you are. Send that.
Please phone me re-urgent and dangerous situation at You know to find state police?
That's right.
Look, you sure you won't have some lemonade? You don't have the muzzle velocity or some other drinks drunk around here, but it's good for what ails you.
What ails you, Mr. Hastings?
Me?
Why are you so upset about this wire?
Who, me upset?
Yeah, you.
No, I'm not upset. I try to be a good neighbor, Mr.
No,
McCready.
to Smith, yeah, but what about the Kamako?
I never seen Camargo in my life, honest.
All right, then you send that wire. Give me the answer when it comes, won't you?
Yes.
All right, then, Mr. Hastings. Step on it. Boy, I'm hungry. Who's someone who'll give me a meal around here?
I guess you could get a meal at Sam's place down the road.
Sam's place, right? No.
Well, you still here? I thought you didn't like this place.
You mean going to or coming from?
Staying put.
No comment.
No comment, he says. No comment, and all the time he's sitting in my chair. My special chair. Did you know that, mister? In this hotel, this is my special chair. No one else ever sits on it.
I was afraid of that.
I'd advise you to give Coley his chair, Mr. McCready.
You're here too, Mr. Smith. This is quite a party.
Uh-huh.
All right, then, Coley. Suppose you tell me where to sit.
You tempt me to do just that.
Well, Smith, your friend's a very argumentative fella.
Sort of unpredictable, too. He's got a temper like a rattlesnake.
That's me all over. I'm half horse, half alligator. You mess with me, mister, and I'll kick a lung out of you. What do you think of that?
No comment.
You know, talking to you is like pulling teeth. You wear me out. You're a yellow-bellied Jap lover. Am I right or wrong?
You're not only wrong, you're wrong at the top of your voice.
Couldn't I pick a fight with you if I tied one hand behind me? If I tied both hands? Couldn't I? Judo, huh? So that's the way you fight, judo. Yeah, I might have known that's how a dirty Jap lover would fight.
Look, I don't like any sort of fighting, Coley, but it seems I'm forced into protecting myself.
Jap
Now, I
lover!
can make you sick and sore if you want to keep on with this. You coming back for more?
Am I what? Yeah!
Pete, go get the doc. Somebody's going to be hurt here.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the next one is going to hurt even more, Coley, and the next one more than that, and so on.
I'll kill you!
No, you
dirty-
won't. Because you're never going to get close enough, Coley. Anybody dies here today, it's going to be you. I'm giving you a chance. You forced me to go all the way. It just needs my hand to hit in a certain way, and you'll never wake up again.
So help me, I'll kill you!
Now, you still want more, Coley.
He doesn't want more.
Oh, you, Smith. You've been standing here watching all this time. All right, how about you now?
You're still in trouble, McCready.
Oh, no, you're in trouble. Whatever happens, you're sunk.
You got things a bit twisted.
You killed Camargo, and sooner or later you'll go up for it. No, not because you killed him, because I think in a little town like this you can get away with it. But you're going to go up because you didn't have enough guts to do it alone. You put your trust in guys like this Coley slob and Pete. Pete, oh, not the most dependable of God's creatures. You know, one of these days they're going to catch on that you've been playing them for saps. And what are you going to do, huh? Peel them off one by one? Huh? You know, in the meantime, one of them's going to crack. When they do, you'll go down, but hard. Because they've got something on you, Smith. Something to use when the going gets tough. And it's getting tougher every minute. Anyway. Oh, Doc.
Man, oh man. Okay, Coley, I guess I'll ease your aches and pains for you. Great ape.
Mr. Smith, I've been trying to think what to do, but Here, read it. A wire he wanted me to send. McCready.
Please phone me real
May I?
urgent.
Where's the answer to this?
You expect an answer to a wire that was never sent? What's so funny?
Oh, I just had a thought. Thought that is dazzling in its purity. You gave my message to Smith, didn't you, Hastings?
Why, you little wart, that's a federal offense.
Yeah. Oh, the doc is so right. You know, like I say, Smith, it's getting tougher and tougher. Oh, I see we have our sheriff with us now, too. When did you sneak in, Sheriff?
Just after Doc got here?
Now, you better come in the picture and do your duty, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, seems like. He's right, Mr. Smith. You're not supposed
Don't
to...
be a fool, Tim.
divulging information. There's a law that says
Tim,
you
you're
can't...
pathetic. Shut up.
Okay, so maybe I'm pathetic, but I'm still sheriff.
That's the point. You're not sheriff anymore.
What?
Your badge. Here, Pete. You come over here and put this on. You're sheriff now.
Oh, but Mr. Smith.
Put it on.
What? Yeah, okay.
I'll take this. What? Well, now there's no evidence, right? No evidence, no case, and you didn't see a thing, now did you, Sheriff?
No, not a thing.
Well, get on your feet, Coley, and come on, boys. We spent enough time here for the moment.
Aren't you going with your big boss, Pete?
I can't wear this star, not when he's... Oh, I'm sorry. I should be more... Oh, I don't know what to do.
Oh, I know what your trouble is, Sonny. You'd like me to die quickly, wouldn't you, without wasting too much of your time? Well, needing drinks now. You'll need a lot of that to wash out your guts.
Now, look. Why'd you come here, Mr. McCready? Now, will you tell me, please? I'll go crazy if I... Now, please, will you tell me?
Sure. Sure, I'll tell you now. I came here to find Kamako. See, Kamako had a son.
Son? I never knew that. No one around here's ever heard of him
There's
having
a boy
a son.
named Joe. Now, Joe is dead now. He's buried in Italy. Joe Kamako died saving my life. He was awarded a medal for that. It's this medal. You see it? It's an important medal, this one. Well, I came here to give it to his old man.
And that's all?
Yeah, that was all I had in mind to do when I got off the train. But now...
Pete, I think you got a story to tell McCready now. Okay, then I'll tell it. Smith owned Adobe Flat. He leased it to Kamako. He figured Kamako cheated him because you gotta have water to raise anything, and there was never any water on Adobe Flat. But Kamako dug a well. He must have gone down 60 feet. He got plenty of water.
Yeah, and that made Smith sore. He got to hate old Japs. Day after Pearl Harbor, Smith tried to enlist.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh. Well, when he came back here, he was as sore as hell. He started drinking with Coley, Hastings, and me. We drank all day, got drunk. Patriotic drunk. We wanted to go out and scare up the Jap a bit, have some fun. But when we got out there, Kamako heard us coming and he locked the door. Then Smith started a fire and the Jap, he come running out. His clothes were all burning. And then Smith shot him. Well, I didn't even know he had a gun.
Then you got scared and buried him and kept your mouth shut.
Well, yeah.
I see. Well, you go ahead and drink that whole bottle, boy, because you're gonna need it now.
McCready?
Huh?
What are you doing sitting out here? Waiting for the bullet?
I was trying to work out what to do next, Miss Worth.
I'll tell you. Get in.
What?
I'll get you out of town.
Well, now, what have we here?
Hurry up before anyone comes along.
Okay. What made you change your mind about helping me?
When you left the hotel after Doc and Pete had told you everything, Pete rang me. He explained everything to me. Said I had to help you get out. I'm helping you.
Well.
If we'd only realized before it...
Yeah.
Oh, hang on to that bottle, will you? Don't let it roll round. It's spare gas. Only thing I could find in my hurry to get to you and get you on your way out of town.
No, I got it.
It was a sad business, the Kamako affair.
You don't know just how sad yet. And some people in this town are going to be just so sad about it. What's the matter? What are we stopping here for?
I gotta put some water in the radiator. All right, Smitty. All right.
What? You lousy little trickster.
Stop firing until I get there with you, Smitty. Stop. Ah!
All right, now, McCready. Your turn next. Come out from behind the Jeep.
I'm a witness of the fact you shot her down, Smith.
Yeah, I know. That's why she was shot down, so she wouldn't be a witness to my shooting you. The only one who's going to be alive around this part tonight is me. Come on out, McCready. I know you haven't got a gun. So come on out. We'll get it over with quickly, huh?
A bottle of gas. Necktie.
All right, then, McCready. I'll come down and get you.
Smith! Smith, you ever heard of a Molotov cocktail?
Yeah, I got no time to play games.
No, I'm not
McCready.
playing games, boy. No, I'm not playing. You know what a Molotov cocktail is? We use in the war, you know. It's a bottle of gasoline, a wick in it, you light the wick and throw it, and zoom! It's a potent weapon, man. And I tell you, I just made myself one in case you'd like to know. Would you like to come closer and sample it?
You don't scare me, McCready. You're a praying man. You start 'em up. This is a praying time for you.
I've just lit the wick, Smith. Now you come any further and you're gonna get it.
Come out of there.
I'm sorry for you, but it's gotta be this way.
What's all the excitement about here, mister? Police and all these guys being put in the guards van?
Oh, there's been a bit of trouble here today. A woman shot, a guy burned to death. Things like that.
Gee, I thought it must have been something pretty important. You know, this is the first time the Streamliner stopped here in 4 years?
Second.
So ends our Caltex play, Bad Day at Black Rock. In a moment, we will give you tonight's cast and tell you about next week's presentation in the Caltex Theatre. Ladies and gentlemen, the producer of tonight's Caltex play, Creswick Jenkinson.
Thank you. Bad Day at Black Rock was presented tonight by courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Proprietary Limited and adapted for radio by John Crane. In the starring role you heard...
I was John J. McCready.
This was Joe McCormick. In the supporting cast, the part of Coley was played by Ken Wayne, Doc by Wayne Polson, Pete by Louis Fiander, Tim by Owen Weingott, Hastings by Ozzie Wenban, Liz by Elaine Montgomery, and in the role of Reno Smith, you heard Hart McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkinson. Next week in the Caltex Theatre, you will hear a play titled England Expects. The title being taken from Nelson's immortal signal at Trafalgar, and aptly enough, too, for this is a story of Horatio Viscount Nelson and of his great love for Emma, Lady Hamilton. But it's a story with an entirely new treatment and told with a new approach. It lends a fresh poignancy to this tragic tale of the days when Britain was indeed a tight little isle, when all that stood between her and the mighty forces of aggression was the Royal Navy and one of the greatest seamen of all time. Now, this is your compere, Rick Hutton, bidding you good night on behalf of your hosts, Caltex Oil, marketers of Caltex Super Gasoline and Caltex Gasoline, the world-famous RPM 1030 Special Motor Oil, and Marfac Lubrication. Welcome to the Caltex Theatre, a full hour of dramatic entertainment broadcast over a nationwide network of stations throughout Australia. The Caltex Theatre is brought to you by Caltex Oil, marketers of over 1,000 outstanding petroleum products, in association with Caltex dealers and distributors everywhere. Tonight in the Caltex Theatre, you will hear the tender story of a teenaged girl named Bobby, who learned that even a tomboy can grow into a charming young woman. Starring in Bobby, you will hear Amber May Cecil. Your producer, Cressick Jenkinson. The Caltex Theatre presents Bobby, Act 1.
Bobby!
All right, Mom, I'm coming.
Oh, I don't know, I'm sure.
Mrs. Martin, the window in my room.
You're having trouble with the window in your room, Mrs. Perry.
Well, I told you, the catch is loose. It keeps banging.
Well, it's odd that you can hear it. All the things you can't hear when it suits you not to.
Bang, bang, bang. That's how it goes.
Oh, I'll get Bobby to fix it for you. Bobby!
Okay. Didn't Bobby hear you the other times you called?
She's coming, Mrs. Perry. She just said she was coming.
It'll be nice to have a silent window, not one that goes bang, bang, bang.
Ah, bang, bang, bang.
Here I am, Mom.
Oh, Bobby.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just nothing.
Well, I guess I don't look all that smart, but there's nothing I can do about it. I tried a scarf around my neck, and I couldn't be bothered with it.
It's not your appearance I'm unhappy about.
Well, what is it?
No, it's nothing. Well, go ahead. Play tennis.
Oh, Mom, it's Saturday. You said...
I thought you might help me.
So I see.
Oh, Bobby, what do you think? I forgot to put in the ad, room for a lady. I don't know how I happened to leave that out. It's the first time that I've ever made that mistake. But he was such a nice young man. I just couldn't resist letting him have the room.
Well, what do you want me to do? It's 2 o'clock, and you said...
No, all right. Go ahead.
Oh, no, Mom. I'll do it. Just tell me.
The new tenant. He wants that extra chest of drawers out and a desk in. That little one down in the basement. He said that would do fine.
Okay.
And you better take the dust off it before you bring it up.
Well, if Sam comes, you
Oh.
Sam! Come on in!
Bobby, please.
Hey, look, we won't get a caught if we don't... Oh, hello, Mrs. Martin.
Sam, I have a new tenant coming in this afternoon, and there's something that has to be done. Now, Bobby, be sure and get the dust off good now before you bring it up.
Sam, we'll just be a minute.
I'll help you.
Why don't you go on over and line up a court? I'll meet you over there.
Well, let me help you.
No, it's light. It's nothing. You go on.
Bobby's as strong as a horse.
Look at me, strong as a horse.
I've always been so frail.
Yeah, you told me.
And I never had a son, so I just had to lean on Bobby all these years.
Yeah, well...
She's my little man. That's what she is. My little man.
Yeah.
I hardly ever think of her as a daughter. Well, you've only got to look at her room. All those sport pictures, athletic pennants. It's a boy's room, that's what it is. And she's much more at home in old sneakers than...
Mrs. Martin, if I'm going to get a court for our tennis game,
Oh, Sam, you ought to come over sometime and spend the evening. I like to sit in the living room after dinner and have coffee and dessert and listen to the radio program. Bobby and I are always glad for some company.
Well, thanks, but...
It's so nice to have a young man in the house. Oh, you know the funniest thing happened. I forgot to put in the ad lady. And who do you think I rented the top floor to? A man. Can you imagine making a mistake like that after all these years? Oh, but he seems very nice. Of course, he's just temporary. I don't think he knows anyone in New York. I tell you, Sam, why don't we all get together sometime and make a real party?
That's very nice of you, Mrs. Martin. Maybe sometime.
Sam,
but right
for
now...
gosh sakes, haven't you gone yet?
I was just leaving. Hey, Bobby, let me carry
Oh,
that.
for gosh sakes, go on. They'll be lined up 6 deep.
Well, goodbye, Mrs. Martin.
Oh, Sam, it's Saturday night, and there's good music Saturday night. So if you'd like to come over and have some dessert with us, I'm going to bake some pie. You like lemon chiffon?
Well, thanks, Mrs. Martin, but I've got some plans.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, sometime soon.
Sure, thanks. Goodbye.
Bobby! Bobby!
Yes!
You can move that chest of drawers into Linda's room. That cousin of yours, she's got more clothes than she knows what to do with. The chest of drawers, Bobby!
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Richards, come on in.
Thank you.
Oh, I've been baking pies out in the kitchen. I hope you like lemon chiffon. Oh, I should have given you your key right away.
I've quite a bit of baggage.
Oh, my. You have brought a lot of things.
May I go up to my room?
For 2 weeks.
Oh, 3 of these are sample cases. Oh, I'll start taking these upstairs.
Bobby should be back pretty soon. Bobby's my daughter. She's just 18. She's been out playing tennis. Oh, you know what children are. I'm sorry I can't help you, but I just haven't the strength.
Oh, I can manage all right, thanks.
Sample cases, you say?
Yeah, I represent a small manufacturer in Battle Creek, but we want to build this into something big. It's sporting goods.
Well, I certainly wish you luck.
Thank you. I think I'm going to like the work when I get used to it.
We'll have some pie and coffee in the living room after dinner. Maybe we could all sit around and talk a while.
Well, as a matter of fact, I just had something to eat, and I do want to write to my wife. She's never been to New York.
Oh, I see. Or maybe later in the evening?
Well, thanks, but...
Make yourself right at home up there, and if you need anything...
Thanks very much.
Even if it's late, do feel free to come down. Mr. Richards?
Come in, Sam.
Oh.
Sure.
Bobby, those are Mr. Richards' bags. Now, when are you going upstairs?
Okay, Mom, okay.
And Bobby, you didn't do anything at all about that garbage before you went out this afternoon.
Okay.
Bobby, you did all right today for crying out.
I did, Stinking.
But why don't you just relax and enjoy the tennis? What are you trying to prove?
I don't get enough time to practice. Maybe twice a week for a couple of hours.
Look, I just nosed you out 6'4", 6'3", 10'8". Plenty of guys I know.
Plenty of guys.
It's just a game.
I feel like bowling tonight. You want to bowl tonight?
Well, I've sort of got a date. It's this girl's birthday, and
Okay.
she wants to go to a nightclub.
A nightclub?
Well, I mean, it's her birthday,
Those
and...
smoky old places.
Well, look, there's something in life besides playing games. Oh, I'd like to see you, Bobby.
I
but
can beat you at bowling.
Why do you have to beat me? Look, I work all week. I like to relax a little on a weekend.
You think I don't work? This place, 4 floors.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe if you got some other kind of job somewhere. Then you could hire somebody.
What kind of job? Sit in an office all day like Cousin Linda, pecking at a typewriter? I just explode. Or cooped up behind a counter like you.
Well, it's not ideal, but what's wrong with it?
Well, Linda can do it, you can do it, but I can't. I'm too restless. I don't know.
In a couple of years, I'll have enough money to go to college. Or get married. Or something.
Get married?
What's wrong with that?
No, I never could sit very long, even in school.
Now, what's that got to do
Well,
with...
don't tell me to get some crummy job, that's all, in some crummy office.
I'd like to see you, Bobby.
See me? Well, I just said you want to bowl tonight. Oh, you don't have to look at me like that, sitting around in some stinking nightclub.
It's this girl's birthday. She asked me.
Well, have a good time.
Sure. You want to play tennis next Saturday afternoon?
Okay.
I'll see you.
Okay. I'll see you.
Hey, I'll get that.
What? Oh.
Those bags, you just leave them. You must be Bobby.
Well, you rented the room on the top floor.
I'm Alan Richards.
Hi.
Hey. You've got a handshake like a footballer.
Oh, why not? I'll take one of your bags anyway. Oh! Gosh, it weighs a lot. What do you got in it, bricks?
Sporting goods samples. Clubs, balls, rackets, the works.
No kidding. Do you have bowling shoes?
I have bowling shoes.
Oh, could I see them? Oh, brother, do I need new bowling shoes.
Well, I only sell wholesale, but come on upstairs. You might as well look them over. It's a brand new line. Hey, look at you. You're in pretty good shape the way you toss that bag around.
Oh, I carried the bed up here from the basement. Of course, it comes apart.
It does?
I mean, it's built in sections. You're not going to part with a hammer.
I see.
Is it locked?
Locked? Oh, the bag. Sorry. I forgot you wanted to see the bowling shoes. Here.
Gee, those look all right. I sort of felt like bowling tonight. Would you like to go bowling tonight? Your second choice.
Even so, I'm honored. But I'm afraid I'm not much of an athlete. I just sell these items. Or hope to. I don't use them personally.
You don't?
What do you do, Bobby, when you're not bowling or toting beds up 4 flights?
What do you mean?
For relaxation.
I don't know. Nothing much. Just fool around, I guess. Well, I better go help Mom.
Hi, kiddo.
Hi, Linda. I have to go help Mom. I just thought I'd come in and say hello.
Well, stick around a minute. You can zip me up. You like this mouth I'm putting on, or do you like this one better in Harper's Bazaar?
They're both okay, I guess.
Sometimes I wonder if he's worth it. My mouth's wrong, my nose is wrong. You know what he said last night? I ought to have my nose done.
Your nose done?
Well, sure, why not? Your nose is too long or too flat, they just remodel it for you.
Oh, my gosh, you wouldn't.
You ever been in love?
No.
Then don't talk.
We have a new tenant.
Yeah? El Morocco, El Morocco. I think Larry would drop dead if he didn't sit at the same table every night.
He sells sporting goods, bowling shoes and stuff.
He? I don't know what law says I have to make myself over. Larry can take my mouth or leave it alone. What does he look like?
Oh,
the new tenant.
Oh, well, he's tall, dark hair. He has very clean-looking teeth. He's pretty friendly.
Is he eating here?
I don't know. I guess so.
So you want to zip me up?
Sure. I don't suppose you'd want to bowl tonight.
Bowl? In this dress with this mouth? Are you kidding?
Okay.
Well, see you dinner, huh?
Are you eating with us?
Why not? I pay for it.
Sure, I'll tell Mom we put a place. You haven't eaten with us for a long time.
For once, I think I'll keep Mr. Larry Myers waiting. Let him drink 4 martinis waiting for me.
Linda.
What, honey?
Are you going to get married?
Not if I don't play it smarter, I'm not. Why?
Nothing. I was just wondering.
I've been wondering for 3 years. 3 years? The nerve of that guy.
Well, I guess I better go help Mom with supper. It's almost 6.
Are you sure Linda's coming down?
She said she was. Mrs. Perry.
Oh, she can't hear you.
Mrs. Perry! Huh? Would you care to go bowling this evening, Mrs. Perry? You're my last hope.
Don't tease her, Bobby. Mrs. Perry, we want you to come in tonight to the living room and listen to the music. It's Saturday.
Music? I can't hear it. I got to get that bathroom scrubbed. That young fellow left it a mess.
Yeah, well, Bobby will do it, Mrs. Perry.
Oh, Mom, it's Saturday night. I need to get out or something. I don't know.
You've been out all afternoon.
I'm restless.
Oh, and Linda oughtn't to say she'd be here for supper and then not come. It isn't courteous.
I'm not so sure I approve of a man in this house. He's asking for trouble.
He's a nice young man, I can tell.
With 2 young girls in the house.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Come on and sit down.
Oh, I'll get you some hot rolls, Linda.
Oh, no. No, I can't stay but a minute.
Well, you said you were going to eat with us. We're not through yet.
No, I have to meet Larry at El Morocco. And Julia, I hear you have a new boarder.
Oh, yes, he's a very nice young man. Maybe we can all spend some evening together.
I'd be glad to, Aunt Julia. Just let me know when.
Guess I'll go clean the bathroom.
Oh, we've got lemon chiffon pie for dessert. Don't you want any?
No. Oh, well, I don't know. Save me a piece. Where's the scrub stuff?
It's all up there. Now you know that.
Okay.
Oh, what is the matter with that girl?
What's the dessert?
Oh, for heaven's sake, Mrs. Perry. I wish you'd wear your hearing aid. You're no company at all.
I was just going to get a glass of water.
I'm sorry. I was cleaning up the bathroom.
Don't rush off. Bobby, I've been thinking about you this evening.
Me?
Yeah. That surprise you?
What were you thinking?
Wondering about you. You interest me.
You interest me, too.
I do? In what way?
I can't understand why you're not interested in sports.
Bobby. Bobby, how old are you?
I'll be 18 next month.
It's amazing.
What's so amazing about that?
Never mind.
I'm not so innocent, if that's what you mean.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm not. I've read books.
I see.
Why aren't you interested in sports?
Oh, I'm interested. Very interested. I just don't participate. I read books.
I guess I better go.
Wait a minute. Don't be afraid of me. I won't hurt you.
I'm not afraid of you. I'm probably stronger than you are.
Yeah, probably. I won't put it to the test.
Well, what do you want then?
Well, I don't know. I hadn't thought it through. It's my first night in New York. The world is going on without me while I sit in a little room by myself writing letters and speeches about durable bowling shoes. Maybe I'm lonesome. Oh, just restless.
Oh. You sure you don't want to try bowling?
No, I don't want to try bowling. Well, what I am doing, I guess, is asking you for a date.
What for?
I don't know. We could see a movie, hold hands in a nightclub. Now, what's your name?
Bobby.
No, your name.
Roberta.
All right, Roberta. You and I have a date. It's Saturday night. Now, go get dressed.
I'll go comb my hair. I'll meet you out front in 5 minutes.
You do have a dress, don't you?
Oh, sure I have a dress. I have 4 or 5 of them.
All right, then pick out a pretty one.
You mean put it on? I'll wear a sweater and skirt.
A dress, Roberta. Where's your lipstick?
I don't know. It's around somewhere.
20 minutes, enough for you to get ready?
My gosh, yes.
All right, 20 minutes, Roberta.
Okay, 20 minutes.
Did you say something?
Can't think of anything to say. You want to go home?
Oh. We're night clubbing. We're doing all right. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worrying. How come you've never been in New York before?
You've asked me that twice now. Don't worry about it, Roberta. You don't have to make conversation.
Well, somebody ought to. We just sit here.
And what's wrong with that? We're smoking, we're drinking, we're holding hands. You can't do everything at once, can you? Okay, we're not holding hands. Okay, we'll talk. We'll tell each other the story of our lives, huh? Ladies first.
There isn't anything to tell.
We'll make up something. Something exciting, I intend to.
I won a medal for diving when I was a freshman in high school.
That's very good.
I didn't make that up. It's true.
And you said there was nothing to tell?
And my mother and I took a trip to Wilmington, Delaware 5 years ago when my aunt was sick. It wasn't very exciting, though. It was pretty boring.
What are your plans?
Well, I used to want to be an all-round athlete like Babe Didrikson, but I never get enough time to practice. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. There's always too much time and never enough.
Days go so fast, just like that. And when it gets dark and it's too late to do anything, everything slows up and it seems to like forever until it's time to go to bed. Sometimes I go to bed real early, 9:30 or 10, just to have something to do.
Now, what do you think about? I mean, before you go to sleep.
I don't think about anything.
Oh, it's too bad.
Why is it?
Oh, I don't know. It just seems a pity when you're 18 not to think about something nice before you go to sleep.
Are you married?
Yeah. Do you mind?
I don't care if you're married or not. Why should I care?
Shall I tell you how I happen to be decorated with a Purple Heart for injuries sustained in action?
Sure.
Well, we'd captured an empty farmhouse outside St. Lo. Did you ever drink French wine?
No.
Well, on the way to the front, I fell out of the Jeep and fractured my collarbone. Well, since I was feeling nothing at the time, I was able to make jokes all the way to the hospital, and so I acquired a reputation for courage.
Are you making that up?
No, Roberta, that's true, every word of it. Shall we go home?
Yeah, I guess we better. Everything's dark. Guess they're all in bed.
Will your mother mind you being out so late?
Oh, she never pays much attention. Sometimes I go to double features and don't get home till after 1.
By yourself?
Oh, sometimes I go with Mary Olivetti. She lives next door. Well, I had a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta.
Why did you do that?
I'll kiss you.
Yes.
Oh.
Just because you take me out, you think you can kiss me?
Roberta! Oh, boy, you sure do pack a wallop.
Mrs. Perry, do you want some more coffee?
I've had enough breakfast. Looks like the young people are sleeping late this morning.
I'd better wake Bobby. That stairway has to be scrubbed. It's filthy.
That young man keeps late hours. 20 minutes of 2 we got in this morning. Sloshing around in the bathroom at 20 minutes of 2 in the morning.
How you can't hear anything at all at times, and other times you can hear the sound of water clear across the hall.
What?
That's what I mean.
Morning, Mom.
Well, I've never known you to sleep in this late. I was just about to go and wake you. Now, there's that stairway in there, and...
I just want some coffee, thank you, Mom.
You catching a cold?
No. Why?
Oh, you don't eat. It must mean that you're coming down with something. You don't look very
I'm
well.
all right. I just didn't sleep very much.
Where'd you go last night? You weren't home when I went to bed.
Oh, just out. Just around.
I don't like you going out without telling
Mom,
me.
I'm nearly 18.
I thought maybe you'd come in and listen to the music last night and have your pie. I saved your pie for you.
Oh, thanks.
Meringue, it's never very good next day. It's watery. What time did you get home?
I don't know.
It must have been pretty late. I didn't go to bed till after midnight.
Well, what do you want me to do today?
Well, those stairs. They got to be scrubbed all the way. The rubber mats are muddy. Bobby, you'd better eat some breakfast.
Where's the scrub stuff?
Where it always is, for heaven's sakes. Is that young man coming down to breakfast or isn't he?
How should I know? How should I know what he's doing?
Bobby! Bobby, where did you go so late last night? Oh, dear. What is happening all of a sudden in this house?
You ask me, Mrs. Martin. You've got trouble on your hands.
And so the curtain falls on Act 1 of tonight's Caltex play, Bobby.
Anywhere you care to travel, motorists agree. The Caltex star stands for better service. Drive right in and see.
Caltex Butane Boosted is the gasoline made to take better care of your car's performance. Caltex Butane Boosted gasolines give faster starting, smoother acceleration, and more economical running. Next time you fill up, change to Caltex. See if you don't feel the difference. See if your car doesn't respond more readily, tick over more smoothly and steadily. The gasolines designed for today's faster pace, Caltex Butane Boosted gasolines.
The Caltex Theatre now presents Amber May Cecil in Bobby, Act 2.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry to put footmarks on the stairs when you've just scrubbed them.
That's all right.
I'd better be going.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
You must be the new tenant. I'm Linda Lyons. I live here, too.
Alan Richards.
How do you do?
How do you do? Will you excuse me now?
He's cute.
You're just getting in, Linda.
What a thing to suggest.
Well, you have the same dress on as last night.
Well, since you put it that way. But don't get any wrong ideas. Larry and I, we've been driving all night. We drove to Virginia to get married.
To get married?
I said, marry me or else. I don't know what came over me, but that's just what I said. Right in the middle of a steak that thick at El Morocco. It must have shocked him out of his senses because he said, all right, you asked for it, and dragged me off without dessert even.
Whoa. Did you?
No. Where's Aunt Julia? I don't want her to see me like this.
In the kitchen. Well, why didn't you?
Because I didn't like his attitude.
His attitude?
As if he was going through with it just to spite me. After all these years, I thought if I ever got that close to marrying that guy, I'd jump at the chance, but I just couldn't go through with it. I must be nuts. Oh, you're lucky, kid. You don't fall in love. Keep your mind on bowling. That's my advice. That new tenant is very attractive.
No tenant?
But I suppose he's married. Practically everybody is. Oh, when I wake up, I'll probably hate myself.
I feel so funny. Like I don't know.
Oh, Mr. Richards.
Good evening, Miss Martin.
I've been so worried you didn't have your breakfast or your dinner.
I thought I'd see a little of the city.
My niece Linda finally came in and had dinner with us tonight, and we had a real nice dinner.
Oh, sorry I missed the occasion. I hope I didn't inconvenience you.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Mr. Richards, but we'd planned to all sit in the living room and have our dessert, and then everybody had something else they had to do, so here I am all by myself. Would you like to come in and sit down for a while?
I'd be delighted.
Well, well.
Shall we go in?
Yes, of course. Come in, Mr. Richards.
Thank you.
Sit down there. That chair was a favorite of my husband.
It's very comfortable.
He's been dead almost 13 years. It doesn't seem possible. 13 years.
That's a long time.
Yes, it is. Well...
Is that his picture?
Oh, yes. It doesn't do him justice, though.
Pictures seldom do.
Oh, isn't that true? And there I am, the other picture. Can you believe it?
You haven't changed so much.
Oh, goodness. You don't know. I'm middle-aged, Mr. Richards. Sometimes I just can't believe it. I look at myself in the mirror and Did you really mean that?
I really did.
Would you like some pie?
No, thanks.
Well, we ate all the ice cream, but maybe you'd like some coffee. It wouldn't take a minute.
I'm perfectly happy, Mrs. Martin.
You are? Well, so am I. I don't know when I've had such a nice talk. People are all so busy these days. My daughter Bobby's around most of the time in the evening, but you know, it's hard to talk. I can't believe that you think I haven't changed since that picture.
Your daughter is very young. It's hard for a young person to talk.
Oh, I don't know what I'd do without Bobby. She's just had to be the man of the house all these years. She was out late last night.
I'm afraid that was my fault, Mrs. Martin.
Your fault?
I was restless, and I think she was, too. We went somewhere and talked until rather late.
But you're married.
Yeah, I'm happily married, if that's what you're worried about.
My niece, Linda, she was very disappointed tonight. She's about your age, and, well, she's different to Bobby.
No, not so different, I imagine.
She's older.
Everybody wants the same thing, don't they? Somebody to talk to?
I don't know what she wants. My daughter, she's not a bit like me.
Don't be too sure. Good night, Mrs. Martin. I've enjoyed our conversation.
But she's not a bit like me.
Isn't she, Mrs. Martin? I wonder. Oh, it's you. Oh, come on in, Roberta.
Thank you.
Sit down. Excuse the look of the room. I'm not very neat, I'm afraid. You look very nice, Roberta. That scarf, it matches your eyes. You have very pretty eyes, you know. Did I mention that last night?
No.
Did you want to talk to me, Roberta?
Yes. I'm sorry I slugged you.
I guess I asked for it.
Oh, no, you didn't. Would you do it again?
What?
Would you kiss me again?
Oh, well,
Please, I won't hurt you.
I'd love to.
Oh, no. Not on the cheek. The way you did last night. Please.
Look, you'd better go, Roberta. Roberta, don't be sorry. Whatever you do, don't be sorry.
I'm not sorry.
Neither am I. You're very sweet, and don't you ever forget it. Don't ever forget it.
I feel much better.
You want to talk about it?
No.
Well, maybe you're right. There are some things you just can't talk about.
Could we have another date sometime?
Of course.
Next Saturday night?
Next Saturday night.
Thank you.
Good night, Roberta.
Very well, Mrs. Perry, very well. I've heard what you have to say. But if you'll just do me one favor, if you'll just let me talk to Bobby alone first.
I don't mind if you talk to her. Breakfast isn't ready anyway.
It is ready. But if you'll just let me have a minute. Oh, what's the use of talking?
Good morning, Mom.
Oh, good morning, Bobby. Sit down and pour yourself some coffee. You're all dressed up.
Oh, this whole thing.
You don't usually wear a dress. I knocked on your door last night. You were asleep.
I wasn't asleep.
The door was locked.
I had some thinking to do.
Yes? Well, I thought we might talk a while, but your door was locked and you didn't answer it. I thought we might talk now, before Mrs. Perry comes in.
What about?
Oh, just talk. Mrs. Perry says you were in Mr. Richards' room last night.
Oh, yes, it was.
Did anything happen? I mean...
No. Well, plenty happened, but... Oh, look, Mama, I don't want to talk about it. Do you mind? There are some things you just can't talk about.
Not even with your own mother? No. We never have talked about things. I just never... Well, you're almost 18, and that's almost a woman. And I've never... Oh, my goodness. I was going steady with your father when I was 19. But it just never struck me that you would ever...
Go on, Mom.
Well, you're so different. I mean, you've just never seemed to have been interested in that sort of thing. And oh, Bobby. Bobby, I'm so worried.
Did he kiss you much?
What? Who?
My father.
Bobby. Oh, dear, he's just going to have to move, that's all. He seems such a nice young man. He's just going to have to move. Your father and I were going steady.
I'll go do the washing.
But you haven't had your
I don't want any. And just don't worry about me, Mom.
Bobby! Oh, dear.
Well, did you talk to her?
Sit down, Mrs. Perry. I'll get your breakfast.
Just keep that young man around, putting temptation in her path. You'll see.
Mrs. Perry, shut up.
No need to shout, Mrs. Martin. And there's that young man going out now, if you want to see him.
Oh, yes, I do. Mr. Richards.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Martin. I was just going to see a man at Macy's. Wish me luck.
Oh, could I talk to you for a moment? It's very important.
All right.
It's just that Mr. Richards, I know you're a happily married man, but Bobby, my daughter, Mrs. Perry saw her come out of your room last night.
I see.
Late.
No, not so late.
But in your room. I always forget how old, or that she's as old as she is.
Yeah, I understand, Mrs. Martin.
She might. When I was her age, I was going steady, but I was planning to get married.
Mrs. Martin, your daughter is a very lovely young woman.
She is? I know she is. But she's so young, and you're a married man. I don't mean that I think you're... I don't know what to think. It's just that there are so many things you forget as you get older.
Maybe we should both try to remember them, Mrs. Martin. Good afternoon.
Oh, hi.
Do you want someone?
Yeah, Bobby. Bobby Martin. I'm Sam Platt. I usually meet her here when we play tennis Saturday afternoons.
I'll go upstairs and call her for you.
Well, I usually just stand here in the hall and whistle. It saves time.
It does? I'll call Roberta for you, Sam.
Who? Oh, yeah, thanks.
My pleasure. Roberta. Hello.
Alan, please come in.
You look very pretty.
Do I?
Yeah, I like that dress.
Where have you been? I haven't seen you all week, and here it is Saturday again.
I've been making my mark in the world. I returned to Battle Creek as a conquering hero and a very tired one.
I don't want you to go back.
That's my home, Roberta.
I'm not going to think about it. Do you like my mouth? Or do you like this one better in Harper's Bazaar? There's a whole page of them.
I like them all. Try them all.
Okay.
Not now, though. There's somebody downstairs to see you.
Me?
A young lock-in-var with a tennis racket.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I better change. I forgot all about Sam. It's Saturday.
Yeah, so you just said.
I remember tonight was Saturday night. Oh, you haven't forgotten, have you?
No, I hadn't forgotten, but...
I've thought about it all week. Especially before I go to sleep.
Roberta, we'll talk about it later. He's waiting for you.
Oh, I wish I didn't have to play tennis. I'd rather just be with you. Do you really like this dress?
Very much.
It's my best one. I've never worn it before. I was just trying it on to see if it still fits. I'm gonna wear it tonight.
Roberta...
Oh, Alan. I'm so happy. It's the funniest feeling to be so happy.
Roberta, Sam is waiting downstairs. Now, go on.
Oh, I don't know why you have to... All right. But I'll have to change.
No, you go down just the way you are.
Huh?
Go on.
Why?
Because I asked you to. And, Roberta,
Yes?
remember, in a week I'll be gone.
I'm not going to think about that.
Go on. He's waiting for you.
I'll see you tonight.
Oh, Roberta.
Well, hello.
May I come in a minute?
Sure. I have an appointment to have my hair done, but it can wait. A friend of mine thinks I look better blonde.
You look very nice, brunette, Miss Lyons.
Linda.
Linda?
I'm glad you think that. You know, I didn't think we were ever going to get acquainted.
I think we should get acquainted. As a matter of fact, I wanted to talk to you about tonight.
Tonight?
Mrs. Martin, can I help you with that cleaner? I'm waiting for Bobby.
Oh, no, thank you, Sam. A certain amount of lifting is good for the figure. If you hold your stomach muscles firm. You see? I'm not such a frail old woman, by any means.
You certainly aren't, Mrs... Hey, get a load of Bobby in that dress. That makeup.
Suddenly, my daughter's a woman. Excuse me, Sam.
Sam, I'm sorry. I forgot all
Oh,
about
that's okay. I don't care if we play or not. I thought you wanted to play.
Oh, I do, but I don't know. I just forgot. I had something else on my mind.
Well, that's good. You look nice. You've got shoes on. Regular shoes, I mean, not sneakers like you usually wear.
Oh, they're sandals. They're new. They feel kind of tight.
Well, they look good. You want to go bowling tonight?
Oh, I don't think so, thanks.
No?
No, Sam. But thanks.
Well, as I said, I'd just as soon relax on a weekend. If you'd like to do something else. I mean, it's Saturday night.
I know. I've got a date.
You have?
You like this mouth?
Well, sure.
There's another one I'm going to try before I decide which one I'm where.
Look, Bobby, you're not mad about last week, are you? It was this girl's birthday, and she asked me to take her somewhere.
Did you have a good time?
Yeah, okay, I guess. We went to a nightclub. It was pretty smoky, like you said.
It's what we did, too.
Huh?
Alan and I. We went to a movie and a nightclub. That's probably what we'll do tonight.
Oh. Who's Alan?
You saw him. He lives on the top floor.
Oh, that one.
He was decorated with a Purple Heart for injuries sustained in action.
He looks kind of old.
I don't think he does, not at all.
Well, I guess I might as well go.
I'm sorry, Sam. And about the bowling, too.
That's okay. I didn't much want to bowl anyway.
Well, I haven't given it up exactly. It's just, well, it's something else besides playing games.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you, but...
2 cents, I wouldn't have it done, but I've got the appointment. I might as well try being blonde. What have I got to lose?
Blonde or brunette, you look very attractive.
Hi, kids.
Hello, Linda.
Linda, what do you think you'd like to do tonight?
Did you ever go to El Morocco? A friend of mine goes there every night, and it might be kind of interesting.
Okay, it's a deal.
Well, I'll see you later, Alan.
Yeah, sure. See you later. Hello, kid.
Excuse me. Please excuse me.
She's crying.
I ought to sock you.
Go ahead. It might make me feel better.
What did you want to do that for? She said she had a date with you.
Linda's a very pretty girl, don't you think?
You said you were going with Bobby and you're going to go with her.
Her name is Roberta. You like her, don't you?
Sure, I like her.
Then you should be glad.
Have you flipped?
Yeah, a little. You know, all my life I've been trying to find where I belonged. I majored in chemistry in college. I've done a lot of things, but they had very little to do with people. All of a sudden, I find out I'm a pretty good salesman. What do you know about that?
I think I will suck you.
You'd better go upstairs, Sam. I don't like to think of Roberta crying alone.
Oh, look,
It's the first door on the left.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, lover boy, have you learned a lesson.
Mr. Richards,
Greetings, Mrs. Martin.
what are you sitting there for? Up the stairs. Of all the things.
I'm keeping my mouth shut. There's a time for everything, Mrs. Martin.
Huh? Oh. Oh, well, you just make yourself at home, Mr. Richards.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mrs. Martin.
It's you.
You okay?
Why shouldn't I be okay?
Can I come in?
If you want to. I'm just putting my sneakers on instead of these. Why shouldn't I be okay?
I should have socked him. I wanted to.
You don't want to play tennis?
Sure, if you do.
I better beat you.
Okay.
I suppose you want to bowl tonight? Tonight?
We could go to a nightclub.
You don't have to bother about me. I'm all right. Crying's for kids.
Go ahead. You can cry if you want to. Don't let him do this to you, Bobby.
Go called me Roberta. I hate that name.
Oh, look, it's not so bad. I know a girl named Block.
I hate it.
You want to play tennis?
I looked forward all week.
I think I will go suck him.
He said I had pretty eyes.
Well, you have.
I have not.
Sure you have. Heck, I've always thought you did.
He didn't ever say so.
Well, you were always so...
So what?
I don't know, trying to beat me. Every time I looked at you, you looked at me like you'd rather be bowling.
Everybody always treated me like I was a kid. Like I was a boy almost. Like all I'd want to do anyway was bowl. But he didn't. Sam?
What? What were you going to say?
Everybody in this house probably knows it by now, so I guess you might as well. He kissed me. He's married. He said that I was very sweet. Well, now are you going to sock him?
Well, I don't know.
Are you afraid?
I weigh more than he does.
I socked him.
Well, why'd you do that?
I don't know.
You shouldn't have done that.
Why not?
Well, he was a pretty nice guy. Oh, I don't know.
Yes, he was.
That's not what I was saying before.
Now we're saying it, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess so. He was the kind of guy that said what he was thinking. I've always admired that kind of guy.
Yes, he was.
I never can do that. I don't know why, but I always think one thing and then I end up saying something else.
You're saying what you're thinking now, aren't you?
Well, now I am.
Well?
Well, you're just easier to talk to than most people. I mean, now you are. I mean, well, now you're more human or something.
Did I tell you he was decorated with a Purple Heart for injuries sustained in action?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always admired that kind of guy. He was... Oh, I don't know.
He was nice.
He sure was.
Well, I guess if we're gonna play tennis, we ought to get going.
They'll be lined up 6 deep.
I'll just comb my hair and put some lipstick on.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Bobby.
Hmm?
Why don't you just put the lipstick on your own mouth instead of like some picture in a magazine? Your mouth's all right.
Is it?
Sure, it's fine.
Is it?
Sure, it's fine. Just fine. I think. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm glad. There. My own mouth. No magazine.
It's just fine.
Okay, let's go. You bring the rackets.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day outside.
Is it?
Beautiful. What's the matter?
He's down there, sitting on the bottom stair.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
What's he doing?
Looks like he's winding his watch.
Oh.
Hey, having trouble with your watch?
What? Oh. No, it's fine.
We decided to play tennis.
Good.
It's a beautiful day outside, you know that?
Have a good game, Bobby.
You, have a good time with Linda.
Lynn? Oh, yeah. Well, see you around, huh?
Yeah. See you around.
And I'll see you around, too.
Absolutely.
Come on, Bobby. They'll be lined up 6 deep.
Oh, Bobby.
Yes, Mom.
Maybe Sam would like to come home to dinner tonight.
Tonight?
We could all sit in the living room for a while and listen to music together.
You want to, Sam?
Well, for a while, sure. Thank you, Mrs. Martin. Well, see you later, then.
Goodbye, Mr. Richards.
Goodbye.
It's a beautiful day outside.
Yes, it is. Beautiful.
So ends our Caltex play, Bobby. In a moment, we will give you tonight's cast and tell you about next week's presentation in the Caltex Theatre. Ladies and gentlemen, the producer of tonight's Caltex play, Creswick Jenkinson.
Thank you. Bobby was written by Nada Stokes and adapted for radio by Richard Lane. Starring tonight, you heard...
I played Bobby.
This was Amber May Cecil. The supporting cast was as follows. Mrs. Martin, Neva Carglin, Alan, Leonard Teal, Sam, Graham Hill, Linda, Diana Perryman, and Mrs. Perry, Lyndall Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkinson. Next week in the Caltex Theatre, you will hear the story of Frank Crowley, a middle-class man who, after 20 years of marriage with his middle-class wife, Alice, came to realize that he'd missed out on so much that was worth living for, and desperately sought to escape from the everyday life that seemed to be closing in on him, sought to find that one little door through which he could slip from frustration and despair into a wonderful new world and the pursuit of happiness. How he learned that running away from destiny is never an answer to the problems we face each day is told in The Little Door. Be listening for this moving drama next week. Remember, too, Yellow Jack and The Bush and the Tree, further outstanding presentations shortly to be heard in the Caltex Theatre. Now this is your compere, Rick Hutton, bidding you good night on behalf of your hosts, Caltex Oil, marketers of Caltex Super Gasoline and Caltex Gasoline, the world-famous RPM 1030 Special Motor Oil, and Marfac Lubrication. Welcome to the Caltex Theatre, a full hour of dramatic entertainment broadcast over a nationwide network of stations throughout Australia. The Caltex Theatre is brought to you by Caltex Oil, marketers of over 1,000 outstanding petroleum products, in association with Caltex dealers and distributors everywhere. Tonight in the Caltex Theatre, you will hear Poison Tongue, the story of the unmasking of a murderer who chose an unusual and cleverly conceived weapon to commit his crime. Starring in Poison Tongue, you will hear Nigel Lovell. Your producer, Craig Jenkinson. The Caltex Theatre presents Poison Tongue, Act 1.
Good Lord.
She's hit the lamppost. Just as that girl.
May I sit down in the shop for a moment?
Of course.
Oh, that car just missed me.
Here, take this chair. I heard the skid and the crash. Couldn't see anything, though.
Oh, the driver couldn't seem to control the car.
Are you hurt?
It's nothing much. Only fright. I just needed to sit down.
I'll get you some water.
Thank you. Oh, it took me so much by surprise. I saw the car coming, but I was nearly across the street. Then the driver braked suddenly and went into a skid, so I jumped. Then I came in here.
Here you are.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry to be such a bother.
No trouble at all. Amazing how quickly a crowd collects, isn't it? A policeman seems to have taken charge. Perhaps you'd better wait until he's seen you.
Oh, I don't think I will. I really didn't see anything, and I'm late back to work as it is.
I gather you work somewhere near here. I haven't seen you before.
I haven't been here long.
but I always pass your stamp shop on the way.
Are you interested in stamps, by any chance?
No, but some of those in the window are very pretty.
Afternoon, Bidford. Nasty smash.
Yes, it sounded like it. What can I do for you, Minister?
Oh, no hurry. I can wait till you've served the young lady.
I'm just going, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Bidford.
Are you sure you'll be all right? And shouldn't you leave your name and address in case the police want to see you?
I don't think they will. I doubt if anyone saw me come in. Goodbye, and thanks again.
Oh,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
Pretty. No long, Bidford.
I've never seen her before. What can I get for you?
Only a packet of loose-leaf sheets. I've seen her before, you know. She's the new assistant at the chemist in the square.
Oh. Here you are. Anything else?
Oh, look. She's left a book behind. On the chair here. Or is it yours?
No, it's probably hers.
It's a library book. Might be a name inside. Oh, look, there's an envelope sticking out.
A place marker, I expect. Good Lord.
Yes, that stamp. What is it? A tuppenny?
It was once. It's nearly black now.
The date stamped, let's see, a year ago. Never saw a stamp turn that colour before. As you say, it's nearly black.
You said the girl works in a chemist's shop. Maybe she's touched it up with some chemical.
The address is written in green ink. Or do you think that's changed colour too?
It's hard to say without testing it.
That stamp will be worth something. What will you do, Bidford? Findings, keepings, or make her an offer? Always supposing it's hers, of course.
The envelope's addressed to a Mrs. Carpenter, so it can't be hers. She wasn't wearing a ring.
No, I noticed that. Pretty girl. Look, I'd like to be in on the examination of that stamp, Bidford. Fascinating.
All right, Minster. Come round to my flat around 8 this evening and we'll have a look at it.
Fine. Incidentally, I passed that chemist on my way. I don't mind at all dropping the book into our mysterious lady.
I shouldn't trouble, thanks. If it's hers, no doubt she'll be back for it.
Okay. You saw her first. A tuppenny turned black. Absolutely extraordinary.
It is rather extraordinary, isn't it?
Mr. Bidford and this customer of his, Mr. Minster, were actually examining the stamp when I arrived, Superintendent.
Well, go on, Inspector.
I called at Mr. Bidford's flat on a more or less routine matter. There was a car smash in the High Street yesterday. The driver was a Miss Jennifer Buckingham from Tollingford.
Serious?
Oh, she's in hospital with concussion. We haven't been able to question her to find out what caused the skid. The car was new and the tires were good. Anyway, one or two of the eyewitnesses mentioned that the car just avoided hitting a girl who went into Bidford's, the stamp dealer's.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, the constable didn't hear about her until quite late, when Bidford's was closed, and since I know him slightly, I offered to call round to his flat to ask if he could tell us anything about this girl. And that's how I happened to see the envelope.
What was it like?
I'll get it down here to show you as soon as the lab's finished testing, sir. It was a sort of brown, rather like a circular. One of those envelopes addressed in green ink to a Mrs. Carpenter of Bracken Street. But the stamp was oddly discolored, dark purple, nearly black. Naturally, Bidford hopes it may be valuable, and he wasn't too pleased when I said I'd better bring it away and get our lab to test it.
Oh, you're quite right, Inspector. The post office are pretty particular about the gums they use.
Well, that's what I thought, sir. It seemed worthwhile to make a check anyway. As far as the girl's concerned, by the way, Bidford had never seen her before, but his customer had. He thinks she works for a chemist in the square. And we'll send a man along to talk to her in the morning.
Good.
Of course, there mightn't be anything in this stamp business, but I thought if only for the sake of the post office people.
Yes? Yes, Inspector Waits here. You are?
Oh, thank you, sir. Might be the lab report. Hello? I see. Probably derived from a liniment, huh? Just a minute. The gum on that stamp was poisonous, sir.
Was it indeed?
Excuse me, sir. Any idea what? Well, keep trying. Derived from a liniment. Well, that's a bit more subtle than arsenic or phosphorus. Yes, please. A copy for the superintendent, too. Thanks a lot. That certainly explains the discoloration, sir.
This'll upset the big wheels of the post office.
Unless it wasn't an accident.
Rather odd way to commit a murder.
It's certainly original. The lab says licking 1 or 2 stamps poisoned in that way wouldn't do any harm, but if 50 or more were licked in a short space of time...
Yes. It was too early to be positive whether it was deliberate or not. Anyway, follow it up, Wade.
Yes, sir. I'll go right round to see this Mrs. Carpenter for a start and see if I can find out where that stamp came from. It'll help if I can trace any others posted about the same time.
Yeah, we'll keep the postal authorities in touch.
Yes, sir.
Pity the trail's at least 12 months old, eh?
Let's hope it doesn't lead to a cemetery.
Good morning, Mr. Bidford.
Oh, good morning, Miss... You know, you didn't tell me your name yesterday.
It's Hedges. I came in to thank you for being so kind to me yesterday.
I found it remarkably easy to be kind to you, Miss Hedges.
I also wondered if by any chance I left my library book here.
Oh, it was yours then. Yes, you did. It's right here.
Oh, thank goodness. It belongs to the library, and I was worried about it.
Here it is.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll...
Miss Hedges.
What is it?
Miss Hedges, I have a confession to make. I'm afraid I've taken rather a liberty.
Oh? What's that?
It'll take rather a lot of explaining, and I expect you're on your way to business. Could you lunch with me?
What?
I really do have something to explain. Look, I hope you believe this isn't a habit of mine. It's really... Well, would you please?
Well, if it will take a load off your mind.
Thank you. Shall we say Hatterick's in the square?
I could be there just after 1.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Excuse me, miss. I'm Detective Inspector Waite. I wonder if you happen to be the young lady who had rather a close shave yesterday.
Yes, but I'm afraid I didn't see much, Inspector. Just the car skidding towards me. I almost fell into this shop. Well, that's all I know.
Inspector, this young lady's in a hurry. Couldn't you...
Yes, of course. If you would just jot down your name and address for me. Just routine.
If I must, Inspector.
Yes, here's an old envelope. Just use the back of that. A pen?
Thank you. There.
Thank you, Miss Hedges. Oh, by the way, have you ever seen this envelope before?
I shouldn't think... Wait a minute, though. That green ink. Mr. Bidford, was this envelope in the book I left here yesterday?
If it's addressed to a Mrs. Carpenter, then it was.
I don't understand why this detective has it now. Is anything wrong?
That's one of the things I want to explain over lunch.
I see. At least I don't. What can this envelope have to do with the accident?
Well, Miss Hedges, if you're in a hurry, perhaps I might walk along with you.
All right.
I hope I can explain, Miss Hedges, at Hatterick's, just after 1. Bread, Miss Hedges?
Thank you. I still can't understand any of this.
You say you're a chemist assistant.
I'm an assistant dispenser at Fielding's in the square. But what could that have to do?
I wondered if possibly you could have spilt some chemical on that stamp while you had the envelope.
I shouldn't think so. I only know it was in the book when I got it from the library, and I left it in the book and the book with my coat in the cloakroom.
Did you notice anything odd about the stamp when you first saw the envelope?
Only vaguely. It seemed different somehow. But then they altered the colour of stamps so often.
But it must have been discoloured when you first saw it.
I suppose it must have been, though I can't be sure.
Is it of any value to you, Miss Hedges? I mean, do you want it back when the police are through with it?
Of course not. Any old envelope will do for a bookmark. You keep it if it interests you as a dealer.
If the stamp turns out to be valuable, I'll naturally share the proceeds with you.
But it's no more mine than anyone else's. Well, I suppose in law it belongs to the library.
Anyway, now I've explained. Do you forgive me?
Of course. There's nothing to forgive. Mr. Bedford, do you suppose the gum on that stamp was poisoned?
What makes you think that?
Why else would the police take such an interest? Then that brown envelope and the twopenny stamp suggest a circular, don't they?
Possibly, yes.
And if anyone sent out a lot of circulars at a time and licked a lot of stamps, well, if someone had deliberately poisoned the gum, it would be a good way of committing murder, wouldn't it?
It's a horrible idea.
And disposing of the evidence merely by posting the letters.
But surely nobody would lick all those stamps. They'd use a sponge.
Yes, that's true. But some people are very old-fashioned about that sort of thing. And if the murderer happened to know his victim always licked the stamps...
Oh, this is getting nastier and nastier. What a way that'd be to die.
Yes, it is rather beastly, isn't it? Don't they always say poison is a woman's weapon?
Well, they say so. Care for some more tea?
No, thank you.
Miss Hedges, supposing you were right about this, do you know of any drug that could be used in that way?
I can't think of any at the moment. It would have to be colourless and tasteless. I'm not terribly well up in poisons, but I could make inquiries.
Perhaps we'd better leave that to the police. We don't want to put a possible murderer on his guard.
It's unlikely that... Oh,
Thought of something?
no. But if there is a murderer, he or she probably lives in this town and must know about poisons.
It might be anyone at all.
It might even be me.
What nonsense.
In all the thrillers I've read, the murderer is always the least likely suspect.
That'd be the detective, strictly speaking.
Yes, so it would. Yes, coming across that stamp by accident when he thought all the evidence had been destroyed, and taking it away from you as he did.
You'll soon have me taking you seriously.
Oh, no, don't do that. Well, there probably isn't even a murderer at all. Is there?
Yes, it may, or be in Mare's Nest, Superintendent. But Mrs. Carpenter says she used to get a lot of circulars in envelopes like that about a year ago. Requests for charity, and as luck would have it, she even found one of the circulars. Yes, sir. The circular requested that contributions be sent to the head office of the charity at the home of a Miss Ann Doler. D-O-L-E-R. Yes, sir. Miss Doler of Pencroft, Gatsy Lane. And when I called at Gatsy Lane, I heard that Miss Doler had died a year ago and that you, Dr. Marlowe, were her attendant physician.
Aye, that is so.
Could you tell me in simple terms the cause of her death?
Oh, disease of the heart, Inspector. Miss Doler was 83 years old, and her heart was naturally weak.
Do I understand her death came as no surprise to you, Doctor?
I'd warned her many times against overexertion, of course.
Meaning that she was more active than was wise in her condition?
Miss Doler's mind was extremely vigorous. She didn't like to be told to slow up.
Well, it's hard for any of us to realize that we aren't as young as we used to be. But had Miss Doler, to your knowledge, done anything or suffered any kind of physical or mental shock that might have hastened her death?
Nothing whatever. Her death, in my view, was due to the inevitable running down of overworked machinery.
Well, thank you, Dr. Marlowe. Now, could you by any chance tell me the name of Miss Doler's solicitor?
Hello, Miss Hedges. Enjoy your lunch at Hattrick's?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Fielding. But how did you know?
Oh, I happened to glance out the window and saw you coming out.
Oh,
Am I allowed to ask who he is, Miss Hedges?
just a chance acquaintance. Mr. Bidford from the stamp shop.
Well, he hasn't taken long to get into your good graces. I'll have to ask him how it's done.
These prescriptions came in while you were out, Mr. Fielding.
Ah, yes. Let's see now. Well, you can do this one and this one and this. All proprietary stuff, and I'll see to the others.
Right.
I wonder why old Stubbs has been ordered tranquilizers. He's His wife getting a bit out of hand again, do you think?
How should I know?
Ah, you won't be a good dispenser until you take a personal interest in your prescribees.
What possible use can that be? It doesn't change the formula.
Gives you an insight. People don't realize how much their prescriptions tell a chemist. I could name every hypochondriac in town. And others, well, you just know.
That they won't get better, you mean?
Yes, rather beastly, isn't it? Trouble is, I'm too sentimental. Sometimes I feel like bunging a touch of strychnine in their medicine just to help them off.
You'd finish up on the gallows.
Oh, if I ever took it in my head to poison someone, nobody would ever find out. Weed killer? Nah. Rat poison? Bah. What's the use of having a training like mine if you can't be a bit subtle?
Do you know a lot about poisons, then?
Borgia is my middle name.
Oh. I was reading a thriller the other day, and I thought it was rather ingenious. The murderer removed the gum from some envelopes and replaced it with some he'd doped.
Whereupon the victim burst into flames and exploded.
No, simply died. And the letters were posted, so there was nothing to show how the poison had been administered. But they didn't tell what the poison was.
And a very good thing, too. It might have put ideas into people's heads.
Is there such a poison, Mr. Fielding? That you wouldn't notice even if you licked the gum on a lot of envelopes?
Oh, most unsanitary proceeding. Always use a sponge, young woman. There's old Stubbs for his tranquilizers. Go and deal with him, there's a good girl. Advise him to slip one into his wife's morning cuppa.
It's a good thing I know you, or I might take you at your word. Here you are, Mr. Stubbs. Nothing to pay.
Thank you.
Oh, the poor old chap looks like a nervous wreck. Mr. Fielding, or should I call you Borgia?
Oh, make it, Jimmy. Think how much time you'd save in a year.
No, Mr. Fielding, it wouldn't be respectful.
I'll let you care about that. What's Bidford's first name?
How should I know? We were talking, if you remember, about poisons.
Half a moment. Now, this formula is rather tricky. I don't want to make any mistake in consequence of my mind running on...
On what, Mr. Fielding?
Amaldehydrin.
Oh.
There, now that's done. And I hope it does her good. Although I don't know.
Is she one of those?
Afraid so. However, that'll keep her out of pain for a bit. Now, next.
Detective Inspector Waite, Mr. Burnscott.
Oh, hello, Wade. Come in and sit down. Well, is this friendly call or business?
A bit of both, maybe.
Cigarette?
Thanks, Mr. Burnscott.
That's the idea. How have you been keeping abreast of the local crime wave?
Crime wave? Not even a ripple.
Expect your job's livelier than mine, though. All those divorce cases. Anyway, what brings you here?
Oh, just idle curiosity. Just something that seems to warrant a spot of investigation. Maybe nothing at all.
I'm suitably intrigued.
Miss Ann Dola was one of your clients, wasn't she?
Oh, Miss Dola? Yeah, she's been dead a year or more. Yes, we were her solicitors.
Did you ever meet her?
Once, twice. Oldham actually handled her affairs, but I had a few dealings with her when he was sick or on holiday.
What did you make of her?
Oh, funny old party. Strong-minded, to put it mildly. In other words, a bit cantankerous and a bit of a crank. Between ourselves, that is. Great one for charitable causes, Miss Dola.
I gather she'd been in poor health for years.
Yes, but she took it in her stride, or tried to. Never admitted defeat. I say she led her servants a devil of a life, yet somehow they were all devoted to her.
I've heard she wasn't so lucky with her paid companions.
Well, no, there was quite a succession of them, until she found the one who was with her when she died, Nurse Butcher.
Yeah, Janet Butcher, yeah.
No. Stayed 2 years, thus smashing all previous records.
What became of her after Miss Dola died?
I have no idea. After the will was proved and executed, she went away. I've not heard of her since.
Was she a beneficiary then?
Nurse Butcher? Good Lord, yes. She came in for everything.
Did she now?
Yes, the house, practically all the old lady's money. Oh, there were 1 or 2 bequests to the servants and so on, but nothing of great account. No, Nurse Butcher swiped the jackpot. Over £20,000 when everything was cleared up.
That's very interesting indeed. And she just vanished.
Well, I wouldn't put it like that, Inspector. We were the executors, of course. There was no reason why she should keep in touch with us or we with her. She simply moved away, that's all. May have taken another job for all I know, or gone on a spree.
Miss Dola must have liked her very much, or been very grateful to her.
Well, I don't know. Look, what I'm going to tell you is very much off the record, and I wouldn't repeat it outside these four walls.
Sounds like the sort of gossip that makes a detective's life worth living.
Anything to help a pal. Outside the witness box. No, I have an idea, and Oldham had the same impression, that it was a bit of pique on the old lady's part.
Huh?
Yeah. The will was made only about 6 weeks before she died, and before that, everything was to have gone to her nephew.
What made her change her mind?
I know you'll find it hard to believe, but simply because the young chap bought a second-hand car.
What? Why did that upset her?
Well, I told you she was a bit of a crank. She had a positive horror of extravagance of any kind. Spent most of her time sending out circulars in aid of various charities, but, never subscribed a penny to them herself.
Really?
Absolutely. Nor was any of them mentioned in her various wills.
Her various wills?
Oh, yes. Changing her will was one of her few hobbies.
Oh, I see. She didn't have a car of her own?
Good Lord, no. She hated them. Nurse Butcher rode a bicycle when she came to town. What made it worse in his aunt's eyes was that the nephew bought his on the never-never. You see, her motto was cash on the nail, and discount for cash if she could get it.
Yes, I'm beginning to get the picture.
You should. Actually, I believe the whole sum involved was about £100 and something. But it cost that poor young devil 20,000.
How did he take it?
Oh, good-humouredly enough. He's a pleasant chap.
When did he hear the bad news? After she died or before?
That I couldn't say for sure. Afterwards, I'd think. At the will reading.
I see.
Mind you, he probably wasn't expecting anything, knowing Miss Dola. All he knew, she could have left the lot to charity.
Or to him.
No. Anyway, he didn't get a penny. I think a lot of people had a surprise when Nurse Butcher came in for the kitty.
Including Nurse Butcher?
No, I can't say.
Did you ever meet her?
No, only once. Not bad looking, really. Well-spoken, ladylike, but very quiet.
Would you know her again if you saw her?
Well, no, I can't call her face to mind. I doubt if I'd recognize her in the street. Look, if you want a description, I suggest you try young Fielding.
Fielding?
Yeah, the chemist in the square. Rumour had it he was very attracted in that quarter at one time.
Oh, I'll do that.
Come on, Inspector, what are all the questions?
Well, I'd just like to get in touch with Miss Janet Butcher, but not so as to stir up a lot of talk.
You might get at her through a bank. We sent her a cheque, and we keep return cheques for quite a time, so the accountant would still have it, I should think. Any help?
Definitely.
Right. The accountant, please. Mr. Tracy, let me have the cheque we paid to Miss Janet Butcher in connection with the will of Miss Anne Dola, will you? About 10 to 12 months ago, I think. Yes, thank you. Well, Inspector, anything else I can do for him?
You might give me the name and address of the nephew, if you will.
Well, didn't I give it to you? Yes, I did. Young Jimmy Fielding.
What, the chemist?
Certainly, the chemist. He was her only living relative.
That's curious, sir, and curiouser.
Hmm?
You say you know Mr. Fielding?
Oh, casually only. I told you, a very pleasant chap.
He certainly has a tendency to crop up in this case. He's Susan Hedges' boss, Miss Butcher's former admirer, Miss Dola's sole relative and presumed natural heir, and he's a chemist.
You know, I think that sounded pretty sinister, if I knew what this was all about.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Burnscott. But the sooner I have a word with your young Mr. Fielding, the better.
And so the curtain falls on Act 1 of tonight's Caltex play, Poison Tongue.
Anywhere you care to travel, motorists agree.
Motorists agree that Caltex butane-boosted gasolines take better care of your car's performance. You get faster starts, smoother acceleration, more economical running. Change to Caltex butane-boosted gasoline and feel the difference.
The Caltex Theatre now presents Nigel Lovell in Poison Tongue, Act 2.
Only 10 minutes to closing time. Thank goodness, Miss Hedges.
Yes, Mr. Fielding?
Tell me, how goes the romance with the stamp shop?
Why, I haven't even seen Mr. Bitford since I had lunch with him, and that's a week ago.
Ah, splendid.
Why splendid, Mr. Fielding?
Because... talk of the devil. Miss Hedges, you'd better see to this customer.
Right. Good evening, Mr. Bitford. What can I get you?
Good evening, Miss Hedges. Have you something for a headache? Not ordinary tablets. They don't agree with me.
I'll see what Mr. Fielding recommends. Mr. Fielding, what can you suggest?
Tell him to try a Meatex.
Oh, shut up. What shall I offer him?
Try these nice big tablets. Perhaps he'll choke himself.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fielding. I think you'll find these as good as anything, Mr. Bitford.
Oh, thank you. No, don't bother to wrap it up.
Oh, 1 and 9pence, please.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you.
Miss Hedges, I wonder... Well, if you happen to be free this evening, would you care to see a film? With me, that is.
But should you if your head aches?
Oh, it doesn't ache now, but it may come on sometime when the shops are shut.
Is that when your head usually begins to ache?
Well, no, I can't say I... Look, let's forget about headaches. How about the film?
Very well. Thank you. Oh, good evening, Inspector.
Good evening, Miss Hedges. Evening, Bitford. Is Mr. Fielding available?
Yes, oh, here he is. This is Inspector Waite, Mr. Fielding.
Hello, Inspector. What can I do for you? Toothache, earache, heartache? We've cures for everything. Now you can run along, Miss Hedges. I'll shut up shop.
Thank you.
Miss Hedges.
7:30 outside the cinema.
Good, fine, thank you. I'll see you then.
Thank you, Mr. Fielding. I'll just get my things. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Inspector.
Oh, good night, Miss Hedges.
Ah, you see, Inspector, what do those young things care about my broken heart? Nothing whatever.
Pretty girl.
Very. Have you come shopping or are you on some trail?
Oh, well, neither. I'd just like a chat with you.
Oh, my flat's upstairs. We can talk there in peace and comfort. I'll just lock up the shop.
Oh, thank you.
This way, Inspector. I hear there was a car crash outside Bidford's last week. Anyone hurt?
Driver had a touch of concussion.
Local resident?
No. Charlinghurst. She's back home now.
No use laying in a special stock of sticking plaster, then. Ah, here we are. Sit down, make yourself at home. Now for your drink?
No, thanks, but go ahead yourself.
Oh, later will do.
You're very comfortable here.
And the whole art of life, Inspector, lies in gracious living. Well, now, what's on your mind?
Mr. Fielding, I believe you were a relative of Miss Ann Dola.
She was my aunt. Why?
Are you familiar with her handwriting?
Oh, yes. The old lady never failed to send me a card at Christmas and on my birthday, however much she disapproved of me in between.
Yes, well, this envelope, is it addressed in your aunt's hand?
Oh, no. No, she never used green ink, and her writing was angular and old-fashioned. But I can tell you whose it is, if you're interested.
Well, a detective can never know too much.
My aunt had a nurse who acted as companion and secretary as well, a certain Miss Butcher. That's her writing.
You're quite sure?
Oh, good Lord, yes. She spent lots of her time addressing envelopes to my aunt's charities.
Did any of these circulars come to you?
Well, my aunt knew me better than that.
Well, then how are you so certain about this writing?
Oh, Janet Butcher used to write to me personally.
Oh, I see.
Matter of fact, I was rather keen on her at one time. Didn't come to anything. None of my youthful follies ever did.
You don't happen to have a photograph of her?
No, I never saw one.
Could you describe her?
Are you looking for her, Inspector?
Perhaps I want to return a bicycle pump she left at Pencroft.
A lot of use she'd have for it, with 20,000 smackers in the bank. Let's see. Aged about 28. Middle height, middling brown hair, grey eyes, I think. Yes, I'm pretty well sure. Quiet and reserved. A neat figure, but you wouldn't look back over your shoulder at her in the street. Not being very helpful, am I?
What became of her after your aunt died?
She stayed on until the will was settled. I don't know where she went after that.
May I take it that you'd lost interest in her movements by then?
Oh, months and months before. I can't think now why I found her so very attractive. Probably because she wasn't, well, obvious. She had quite an astringent wit, and I think that's what endeared her to my aunt.
Did she, by any chance, write to you at about the time of your aunt's death?
No. Well, at least she did address an envelope from Aunt Anne.
Containing a letter?
No, a birthday card. It was my birthday a couple of days before the old lady died.
You wouldn't still have the card, I suppose.
As a matter of fact, I think I have. I kept it because it was, well, my last link with Aunt Anne, but I can't say I've looked at it since. Care to see it?
Yes, if it's no trouble.
Oh, none at all. It's somewhere in my desk. Let's see. Oh, here's a photograph of Aunt Anne taken about 3 years ago.
Is that Nurse Butcher with her?
No, that's her predecessor, one Hermione Lester. She only stayed a few weeks. I'm sure I put that card in here somewhere. Hermione couldn't stand watching the old lady lick stamps.
Oh.
I don't think I could either. Auntie had rather a large tongue. Anyhow, after that I sent Auntie one of those sponge things, which properly sent the balloon up, wasting money on it. Ah, here we are. Good Lord.
What is it, Mr. Fielding?
This stamp, it's nearly black.
Hmm.
Oi, oi. Now, I wonder if she's quite so naive as she likes us to believe.
Whom do you mean, Janet Butcher?
No.
Mr. Fielding, may I take that envelope?
No, Inspector, you may not. I'd like to have a good look at that stamp. Have you any objection?
Well, it's for you to say at the moment, Mr. Fielding.
What does that mean?
One more thing. In her condition, I suppose your aunt took medicine?
Quite a bit, I imagine.
Was it sent up to the house or called for?
I wouldn't know. I didn't make up her prescriptions for obvious reasons.
Obvious, Mr. Fielding?
Oh, surely. My aunt was reputedly rich and old and had a dicky heart. I asked her to send her prescriptions elsewhere, and she saw my point and did so.
The point being that you might be a legatee.
Oh, she made no secret of that. Nor when I was out of favour either. I was in and out of her will so often that it was almost like the football pools. Not that it troubled me much.
I should have thought that £20,000 was worth a bit of trouble.
Oh, money's not everything, Inspector. Anyway, I didn't feel disposed to order my life according to my aunt's ideas merely for what she might leave me.
I see.
I think Janet was surprised at the reading of the will. That I didn't come in for anything, and that she got the lot, I mean. Or if she wasn't surprised, then she put on a jolly good act. Wait a minute. If I thought she'd done the old lady any harm, I'd...
Were you surprised, Mr. Fielding?
Huh?
Were you surprised at the contents of that will?
I told you, Inspector. I was in and out again so often. I didn't really know till the will was read whether I'd be in or out.
Thank you, Mr. Fielding. I get the impression that you were fond of your aunt.
Aunt Anne was very kind to me in her Spartan way when my parents died. Yes, I was more than fond of her. If I can help you in any way, Inspector, I'll do anything.
Well, you could start by letting me have that envelope.
Just what and whom do you suspect, Inspector? No, of course, I shouldn't ask. Well, here, take the envelope.
Thank you, Mr. Fielding. That will be all for now.
There'll be plenty of time for coffee before the show's due to start. Cigarette, Miss Hedges?
No, thanks. Have any more of those queer stamps turned up, Mr. Bidford?
No, and I hope they won't. It'll only bring the price down. You know, it's strange. We only met a week ago, but I feel as if we're old friends. I hope you do.
I suppose if anybody found one of those stamps, they'd bring it to you.
Well, I'm the only stamp shop for miles. Oh, thanks. What?
Both what, sir?
Well, this is very pleasant. Sugar?
Thank you. Mr. Bedford, you remember you asked me what poison might have been used on those stamps? Well, I believe I found out.
Have you indeed? What is it?
Amildahydrin. I think it must be one of the fairly new ones because it isn't in the books yet.
Oh. Have you told the inspector?
Goodness, no. Why should I? Oh, look. Talking of the inspector, there he is over the road. He's knocking at the door of our shop.
The place is closed up, isn't it?
Oh, Mr. Fielding lives upstairs. But the inspector was there just a few hours ago. Why on earth would he want him again so soon?
I've no idea. Did you gather what he wanted you to, with your boss earlier on?
No, Mr. Fielding said I could go. I left right after you.
You look pretty worried. Is anything wrong, do you think?
I hope not.
Surely Fielding can't be concerned in this poison stamp business.
No. No, of course not. Though it was he who told me about amildahydrin. Oh, he's coming out. He's getting into the car with the inspector. You don't think he's been arrested, do you?
Well, more than likely they've gone out for a drink together. The inspector isn't always on duty, you know.
That's probably it. They seem to be friendly. Yes, of course. That's probably it.
Well, I didn't give you much notice, Mr. Fielding, but there's nothing like striking while the iron's hot.
I suppose you're quite sure, Inspector.
No, not by any means. That's why I asked you to come with me. But the signature on the driving license was written in green ink, and our expert is pretty positive it's the same writing. And then again, Jennifer Buckingham, Janet Butcher.
Good Lord, yes.
Now, most people who take a false name keep their own initials, though some are original enough to reverse them.
How did you get onto it?
Well, my sergeant spotted the writing on the driving license. And he's got green ink on his mind. Spent an exhausting week trying to find some more discolored stamps.
Do you have any luck?
Yes, found several. You know, it's funny how people keep old letters in drawers or stuck behind the clock in the dining room. I've just been looking through mine. 2 years old, some of them. I noticed quite a bunch on Bidford's mantelpiece, too, when I looked in there the other evening.
And at my place, I don't doubt.
Yes, if everyone were methodical and scrapped old letters, well, we never ever come across this at all.
I wonder if it wouldn't have been better.
To avoid scandal, yes. But for the prevention of further crime, no.
Are you friendly with Bidford?
Oh, I get to know a lot of people in my job.
He seems to be getting on like a house on fire with my assistant. Lost his eyes.
How long has she been with you?
Only a few weeks. She was in training at a London hospital before that. Why?
Well, perhaps I wondered if she had anything to do with your losing interest in Janet Butcher.
You don't miss much, do you, Inspector?
Oh, here we are. Hello, Jenkins. Is she inside?
Yes, sir. I came in about an hour ago.
Right. Wait here. I'll ring. Mr. Fielding, you stand in front.
All right.
Yes?
Janet! Janet Butcher! Well, now.
Jimmy, what a lovely surprise. Come along in. Oh, who's this?
I am Detective Inspector Waite, madam.
Don't tell me Jimmy's under arrest. Oh, come in. Do you want me to stand bail or something?
I should like you to answer a few questions, if you will.
What about?
Your accident.
Oh, that. Well, I'm not feeling too well since I left hospital. Oh, won't you sit down? I had a slight concussion, you know, and I'm afraid my memory of what happened isn't very clear. Jimmy, are you with the inspector?
Well, if I may explain, Miss Buckingham, I had reason to believe that you were, in fact, Miss Janet Butcher. I asked Mr. Fielding to come along and identify you.
That was quite unnecessary, Inspector. I should have admitted it.
Oh?
If you were a youngish woman who'd been poor and worked hard all her life, and were called Nurse Butcher, and had to suffer all the feeble, obvious jokes, and then came into a fair amount of money, you'd understand it. I decided to start a new life with a new name.
Well, I do understand, Miss Butcher. Though your cutting adrift from old connections didn't extend to changing the color of your ink.
No, someone once told me that green ink was lucky.
It's quite so. I gather that your accident was caused by a dog running into the road.
Yes, I had to brake very hard to miss it. Then the car got into a skid and I couldn't pull out. It's a heavy car and I haven't been driving so very long.
About how long, Miss Butcher?
Oh, 3 months. I travelled for 8 months before I settled in Tollinghurst.
From the skid marks, I gather that you were crossing to the offside of the road.
Well, yes. Perhaps I was going rather faster than I should, and then I remembered that I wanted something from one of the shops on the other side of the high street. I suppose that would account for the skid.
Yes, well, I'm glad to have your confirmation, because we never regarded that bit of road as dangerous. Did you find it so when you rode a bicycle on it?
Can't say I did. You seem to know a good deal about me, Inspector.
Well, it's all part of my job, Miss Butcher. Well, I think that's all about the accident. Oh, by the way, this envelope is addressed in your handwriting, isn't it?
Yes, why?
Do you notice anything odd about the stamp?
So that's why it tasted strange.
What do you mean, Miss Butcher?
The stamp has changed colour. Now, the postmark is about a year old. Now, I remember that some stamps I used then tasted strange and bitter. There must have been something wrong with them.
Why do you remember it so clearly?
Well, that's difficult to answer with Mr. Fielding here.
Oh, don't mind me. I can explain everything.
Oh, well, of course, I'm sure there was no harm in it, but the stamps were some that Mr. Fielding brought me. I wondered at the time if he'd handled them when there was some chemical on his fingers.
Mr. Fielding, can you recall the circumstances?
Yes. Miss Butcher phoned me to bring up a sheet of stamps, as she wasn't well and couldn't go out, and it was the maid's half-day, and my aunt wouldn't ask the cook.
And did the request surprise you?
Oh, not really. I was often called on to do odd jobs for my aunt.
Miss Butcher, you say that stamps tasted bitter. Did you always lick them then?
Yes, it was one of Miss Dola's fads. She wouldn't hear of my using the sponge Jimmy bought her. She had very strong prejudices, many of them quite unreasonable. Wasn't that so, Jimmy?
Yes, but I never heard that she asked her nurses to lick stamps for her.
And did the stamps have any harmful effect on you, Miss Butcher?
Oh, no. I only used 1 or 2 that day, then my cold got worse and I went to bed, so Miss Dola finished that batch of circulars herself.
Did you mention that the stamps had an odd taste?
Can't remember. Perhaps not. And if Miss Dola had noticed anything odd about them, she wouldn't have gone on licking them. She'd have raised Cain with the post office at once.
During your 2 years with Miss Dola, did you ever notice a strange taste on any other stamps?
No, never.
And yet you must have licked a great many in that time.
Literally thousands.
Well, you had a lucky escape, Miss Butcher. We've traced several envelopes from that batch of circulars, and we're reasonably sure that the gum of the stamps was deliberately poisoned.
Poisoned? Jimmy, how could you?
Is this the moment, Inspector, for my dramatic arrest?
Do you suppose, Miss Butcher, that the poison was meant for you?
Well, obviously, since... The poor thing. She had it instead of me.
It's never safe to jump to conclusions, Miss Butcher. You seem to assume that it was Mr. Fielding who poisoned those stamps with the intention of killing you.
And didn't I, Inspector?
Well, did you, Mr. Fielding?
No, Inspector, I did not. But I'm hoping to find out who did.
You're not suggesting I did, Jimmy.
Well, may I just put a few facts to you, Miss Butcher? Then you can tell me if I'm wrong anywhere. About 6 weeks before Miss Dola died, she altered her will in your favor.
Oh, yes,
You knew she might change it again, so you decided she must die before she could.
How dare you?
After you had hit on the ingenious idea of poisoning the stamps, you needed a confederate who could supply you with a suitable drug.
You realize that what you are saying is actionable.
I must take that chance. For some time you'd been carrying on a clandestine affair.
What?
But not so secretly that it wasn't suspected by Miss Dola's maid, whom I interviewed just this evening.
You should know better than to listen to servants' gossip.
Your confederate supplied you with a sheet of poisoned stamps. Miss Dola licked them and died. You posted the letters, thus disposing of the evidence, or so you believed. I think you assumed that no one would bother keeping old circulars or their envelopes for very long. A sad misreading of human nature, Miss Butcher.
Oh, this is all absolutely...
Please, let me go on. You cashed in on your inheritance and cleared out. With, of course, the help of your confederate. After a year, it seemed safe to pick up the threads. You wrote to your lover, but meanwhile he had cooled off. Perhaps he felt a share of your fortune wasn't worth the risk of being married to you. I gather he's also become attracted elsewhere of late.
Jimmy, how can you sit there and let this man say such things?
Fascinating, isn't it? I'm positively
You
enthralled.
came to see your lover, but an accident prevented your meeting, quite unknown to him. Ironic, Miss Butcher, that the skidding of your car brought all this to light.
What do you mean?
You almost hit a young lady who sought refuge in a nearby shop, a stamp dealer's shop, and left behind her a library book with this envelope in it. Naturally, a dealer would take an interest in a discolored stamp. So did a regular customer of his.
I know nothing about such things.
Is that true, Janet? You used to be very interested in stamps.
I have a nephew who collects them, that's all. Oh, this is all beside the point.
But is it? Didn't you call it the stamp shop quite often at one time?
I also called at the chemist shop in the square quite often, didn't I, Jimmy?
But not to buy medicine for your nephew.
That's a cruel thing to say.
It's a cruel thing you did, Janet, and are trying to do now.
How can you say that, you of all people?
Why not? I didn't poison those stamps. Janet, it was Bidford, wasn't it?
Bidford? Now I know you're insane. Anyway, who says they were poisoned?
I do, Miss Butcher. The body of Miss Dola has been exhumed and the cause of death ascertained beyond doubt.
Oh.
Did she suffer from sciatica?
Sciatica? Not to my knowledge.
Do you?
No, why do you ask?
As a trained nurse, you know the constituents of sciatica liniment.
I've forgotten.
Mr. Fielding, can you tell Miss Butcher?
I can indeed, but it didn't come out of my shop. Inspector, I'm going... you know where. Will you try to stop me?
No, I'm coming with you. I have some awkward questions to ask Mr. Bidford about his sciatica prescriptions.
Come on, then.
Jimmy, wait. Inspector, what about me?
You're not forgotten, Miss Butcher. Believe me. As you'll find out if you attempt to leave this house.
Oh.
Jenkins, Brown, keep an eye on Miss Butcher here. Yes, sir.
Mr. Fielding.
Ah, bonjour to you, young Susan.
I just heard. The inspector told me. Was it really Mr. Bidford?
That upsets you, I suppose. Yes. I'm sorry.
What on earth made the inspector...
Well, to begin with, he noticed a letter, a recent one, addressed in a familiar writing in green ink in Bidford's flat the first time he went there. It was the same writing as on the envelope that Bidford was examining, but he didn't say a word about recognizing the writing. Well, that was a beginning, and there were also some rather suspicious books on Bidford's shelves, such as the British Pharmaceutical Codex.
Yes?
All straws in the wind at the time. And then Aunt Anne's maid knew Janet was having an affair with someone. She'd heard Janet talking on the phone to someone named Harvey, but she'd never heard his surname.
Harvey?
Harvey Bidford. That was his first name, Susan.
Oh.
In a way, I'm sorry for him. I imagine Janet pushed him into it. She has a very compelling personality. It has upset you, hasn't it?
Mr. Fielding.
Jimmy.
I was afraid it was you.
If I'd done it, they'd never have found out. Do I understand you're glad I'm not the villain?
You don't know how glad. I didn't know either until I started to suspect you.
You mean you... Darling!
Oh, be quiet, Jimmy. Did he use amaldehydrin?
Not unless someone's invented it while I wasn't looking. Not bad for the spur of the moment, was it?
You mean you made it up? Oh, no wonder I couldn't find it in the Codex.
Oh, I don't encourage the study of poisons by the girl who's going to be my wife.
Am I, Jimmy?
Well, Are you, Susan?
Do you know, I rather think I am. No, not here. Jimmy. No.
So ends our Caltex play, Poison Tongue. In a moment, we will give you tonight's cast and tell you about next week's presentation in the Caltex Theatre. Ladies and gentlemen, the producer of tonight's Caltex play, Cressick Jenkinson.
Thank you. Poison Tongue was written by Christopher Maitland and adapted for radio by Kay Keaveney. In the starring role you heard...
I played Inspector Waite.
This was Nigel Lovell. The supporting cast was as follows. Susan, Marcia Hathaway. Fielding, Jerome White. Bidford, Max Osbiston. Minster, Alton Harvey. The Superintendent and Dr. Marlowe, Frank Taylor. Burnscott, Moray Powell. Janet Butcher, Diana Perryman.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkinson. Now, this is your compere, Rick Hutton, bidding you good night on behalf of your hosts, Caltex Oil, marketers of Caltex Super Gasoline and Caltex Gasoline, the world-famous RPM 1030 Special Motor Oil, and Marfac Lubrication.